Today I'm around to the world's craziest animations by Zack films, from a guy literally pooping on golf courses to literally seeing a lion eat a girl alive.
He was way too short to join the army, but a tumor was developing in his brain.
Oh no.
It triggered his hormones, and suddenly the 4'6" man started to grow. His hands, feet, and tongue expanded, and he grew over 2 feet in just a few years. But as he did, his spine curved. Soon his vision blurred, and eventually he had trouble hearing. Finally, doctors removed the tumor, which slowed his growth, but it didn't stop it completely. By the time he died, he was 7'8", making him the only man to live as both a dwarf and a giant.
Yeah, Zack films some of the most craziest animations, and we're just at the start of the video, by the way. Bro, what was this? You wanna be short or tall? This dude, yes in it.
When you shower, warm water loosens strands of your hair from your scalp. These hairs fall and slide into the drain with the water.
So that's why
the
I lose so
strands
much
wrap
hair
around
in the
parts of the
shower.
drain and catch more hair as it falls. And over time, this hair builds up, tangling into a thick clump. Now, if you saved
nasty.
every strand from every shower for 13 years, you would have almost 500,000 pieces of hair, which would be just enough to knit a sweater.
That's so nasty, bro. Just imagine the gunk and bacteria onto that lump of piece of hair in your drain. Ooh! Zack anime is trying so hard not to get him canceled. All fun and games until you find out the hair contains lice.
A man rode into town on his donkey, with his son walking next to him. But people scoffed, saying the man was cruel for making the boy walk.
What?
So they switched. The boy rode and the man walked. Then others said the boy was disrespectful for making his father walk. So they both decided to ride on the donkey together. Now people said they were hurting the donkey. So they both got off and walked beside it. But even then, people laughed. What good is a donkey if no one's riding it? And that's when they learned, trying to please everyone really just pleases no one.
Yo, not gonna lie, Zack films just said a life lesson there, bro. Stop pleasing people, bro. For those that suffer with that, bro, right here, this is the video for you, bro. Don't try to please others. You won't be pleased with their reactions. Absolute cinema, bro. Wow, okay, yeah, that is not pleasant. Okay, all right, yeah.
She heard music coming from her own teeth, and she thought these songs were secret spy messages. But some of her teeth had been filled in, and fillings in teeth can actually sometimes act like tiny receivers.
What?
If conditions are right, radio signals can actually vibrate inside, causing your skull to also vibrate, which creates sound inside your head. Meaning she wasn't really hearing spies,
She's just hearing herself.
just accidental radio broadcasts in her mouth.
Wait, that's so bizarre, bro. You imagine you're just chilling on your bed, doom scrolling, and then next thing you know, you see your radio music? Yo, that's creepy. That's actually like kind of scary. That's either utterly horrifying or absolutely amazing. It really does go both ways.
If you place an orange sideways and
like a burger.
slice it with a sharp knife to create 2 even halves, you can use your thumb to push firmly on the peel from the outside.
Wouldn't that screw
This
up
will
the
flip
jurors?
the orange half inside out,
No way.
making the slices look like flower petals.
No way.
And you'll be left with bite-sized chunks, which you can easily pluck off one by one without getting covered in juice.
What? Yo, I'm actually about to try this. Yo. Whenever I'm about to eat an orange, I'm literally about to try this, bro.
The lion followed
Whoa,
her on
whoa.
the movie set until suddenly it lunged
Okay, there's no way I can show this on YouTube. Wait.
at her. It clamped its jaws around her side and began shaking her violently.
Yo!
And when she looked back, the film crew was running, afraid that they would be next. Only the trainer stayed, shouting for the lion to drop her, and it finally let go. But then it pinned her down with its paw. She escaped with just a few scratches and went right back to filming.
You just heard that right? She literally got mauled by this lion, which, by the way, king of the animals, and they just went back to filming like nothing happened. All right. My bad. Sorry, guys. Director, take 2.
His 20-pound metal necklace started to pull away from his chest as he stepped into the room. He reached out to help his wife.
Wait, that's some like, sorry, I had to pause, but like, dude, that's like some superhero power. Like, I know it's obviously some magnets or something, but bro, like, imagine just things just lifting up. Like, yo, that's kind of
from the MRI table, but the machine was still on, and it had one of the most powerful magnets on Earth inside. It created a force 60,000 times stronger than Earth's magnetic field.
Huh? Whoa. We can create something like that?
Suddenly, his necklace shot forward, violently dragging him headfirst into the machine, and he died the next day from his injuries.
Man, that's sad. Not only is Zack films crazy, but he is traumatizing, bro. But no, I can't get over the fact that we can create something stronger than the magnetic field of Earth. Bro, wait, what?
Created a force 60,000 times stronger than Earth's magnetic field.
That's gotta be crazy, no? 20-pound metal necklace seems heavy. Yeah, I don't know. Yo, what you wearing there, buddy?
Tiny sensors inside the handle pick up the small, shaky tremors in a person's hand. Then they send that information to a chip inside, which detects if the movement is a small, rapid tremor or a real intentional move. Then motors in the spoon's head shift in the opposite direction of the shake. So if your hand shakes left, the motor moves right to cancel it out. And this happens in a fraction of a second, keeping the food steady.
I love science, bro. Go humans for our brains. Humans can be good at times, but humans can also be terrible and horrific at times.
He pooped directly
Okay, alright, bro. Alright.
Into the golf holes.
What are we doing, bro?
And then disappeared into the night.
Yo.
And the next morning, golfers discovered his work while playing. Now, he did this for 10 years, so the groundskeepers installed floodlights to try and catch him. But he climbed a tree, shimmied across a branch, and unplugged the lights, all without falling or getting electrocuted. And since he was never caught, he just kept using the holes as his toilet, leaving golfers in fear of finding his next poop.
Yo, this is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. Yo, Zack films, bro. We went from jalapeno and orange, the perfect way, to a guy pooping in golf hole courses. All right, dude was 100% an employee there.
The blade spins so fast
No.
the bird can't see them until it's too late.
Rest in peace, bro. Rest in peace.
And hundreds of thousands of birds die from this every year. So researchers experimented by painting just one blade black. The single dark blade stands out as it begins to rapidly spin. And this breaks the blurred illusion, making all 3 spinning blades visible. Birds notice them early and change course, dropping fatalities by nearly 70%.
So what about that 30%? No! That's unfortunate. The last bird is definitely the one friend, bro. Birds dying in the most final destiny way ever, bro.
If you shoot at Kevlar, the fibers act like a net as the bullet hits. Each thread is 5 times stronger than steel by weight, and they're stacked in dozens of layers. Instead of letting the bullet rip through, the layers catch it, spreading the force over a wide area.
Ooh.
And this soaks up the bullet's energy before it can tear into your body. But high-powered rifle rounds and sharp knives can still break through the weave. That's why extra plates are added. It causes the bullet to shatter on impact, and the layers catch the pieces before they can reach your skin.
Oh, very cool. More of the story, bulletproof vests are bulletproof.
Stumbled drunk across the train tracks and fell asleep with his head on the rails.
Are you serious?
But within seconds, a cargo train it slammed into his skull, spinning him around and dragging him beneath the train. And when it finally screeched to a stop, witnesses thought he was dead.
Wait.
But then he stood up. You see, because he was drunk, his body was relaxed and his limbs were loose.
What?
Meaning that when he was hit, he moved easily with the train's force and walked away with only a few cuts on his hand.
Bro, that was crazy. But if you think this was crazy, bro, these animations from Zack films will only get crazier throughout the video, bro.
Diarrhea exploded.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're just pooping in front of people. Okay.
From the woman, splattering the seats and dribbling down the aisle. She was on a flight when her stomach suddenly began hurtling, and she got up to use the bathroom, but she didn't make it. The smell hit immediately, making nearby
Yo!
Passengers gagged.
Yo!
The crew's desperate attempts to clean it only spread the mess further, and it got so bad that the pilot decided to make an emergency landing.
Oh, we got some doo-doo!
If you shaved the head of every person on Earth and put it all into a pile, you'd have about 800 trillion strands
That's so
of hair.
nasty,
and
bro.
if you then rolled it all into a single hairball, it would weigh around 700,000 tons. That's almost twice the weight of the Empire State Building. If you somehow added all the human hair ever grown, the hairball could grow to the size of a small mountain.
That's just nasty, bro.
If you were the only man left alive on Earth, and everyone else was female, you'd be responsible for repopulating the planet.
Oh yeah.
But because all of your children would share half of your DNA, when they had
weird,
children with each other, that DNA would overlap even more. And in just a few generations, nearly everyone would be close relatives, meaning the gene pool would shrink dangerously fast. Children could be born with misshapen skulls, twisted limbs, and other mutations. Inside, their organs might not develop right, and many wouldn't survive. The more generations pass, the worse it gets, until the population collapses again.
Bro, what's up with these faces, bro? I swear, Zack D films, when he wants to always portray a dumb or funny looking character, like he does something like this, bro. Like, what is this? What is bro feeding these animators? That's what I'm saying.
It lunged at the moving school bus and clawed at the hood, but the bus driver kept going. When the mountain lion fell to the ground, it kept attacking the tires before jumping up again. And finally, the driver ran it over. One boy jumped out the window and realized the big cat was actually still alive. He quickly pulled out his pocket knife and stabbed it in the heart. The children loaded the body onto the bus before displaying it at their school as a trophy.
What? Yo, my boy, you got some big balls, man. That comic effect was definitely necessary. Let's see, right here. Yeah, bro, if this was real, bro, oh my gosh, it would have been terrible. But still, I thought the kid was gonna save the lion, bro. I thought he was gonna die from the lion, bro. Of course, it's like a quiet kid with a random pocket knife.
She kicked off the car's mirror and ripped out the wiper before clawing at the door.
Whoa,
see,
clawing?
She saw her boyfriend's car at another woman's house and thought he was cheating. But as she was destroying it, a neighbor shouted, "That's not your boyfriend's car." The woman ran away, embarrassed, but she'd cut her finger on the door and left a trail of blood leading back to her apartment. Police followed the trail, and she was immediately arrested.
Good. What the heck, bro? Car destroyed and jealousy rage. Hey, that's common for y'all. Glad her boyfriend won't have to deal with her until she's in jail. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's good.
A woman stepped into the street and began to dance uncontrollably.
Hey,
15,
is that a Fortnite dance, bro?
She danced for days without stopping. And soon, others joined her. Over 50 people were swept up in the bizarre dancing frenzy. The dancers moved with such intensity that some collapsed from exhaustion, and a few might have died from heart attacks and strokes. Local authorities were baffled, believing it was a curse or divine punishment. Now they tried to cure the dancers by encouraging
Fortnite dance.
thinking it would expel the madness, but it only spread further, lasting for over a month before mysteriously fading away.
That's crazy. I don't know what the heck this is, but that's insane. It's called TikTok, and I can't believe it existed back then.
They set up a baby monitor to keep an eye on their daughter because recently they had noticed open drawers and crooked window blinds, things that made them uneasy. The camera was a way to make sure nothing odd was happening. Hours later, in the middle of the night, the monitor crackled awake, instantly jolting her from sleep. She glanced at the screen and saw her husband standing over the crib, cradling their baby. She felt relieved until she realized her husband was lying right next to her. Panic surged as she grabbed a baseball bat and bolted into the nursery. She turned on the light, and her husband spun around, startled, clutching their baby. If this was her husband, then who was in her bed?
Oh, hell nah! Someone hide this man before he haunts us for real. That's what I'm saying. Zack making horror movies now.
If you shut a giant book on your head, you might think it would be heavy enough to crack open your skull. But the human head is made of dense bone, and it can actually withstand over 500 pounds of pressure.
No way.
Now, a frog's bones are much weaker and could definitely be smashed by a regular book.
Oh my gosh, that's so violent.
an 8-foot-tall book closing on your head to crush your skull completely.
If you drink a whole can of Red Bull and jump out a window, you might think you will start to fly. No, Zach, I did not think a book can crush my skull.
The old lady crushed the pills and secretly put them into her tenants' food, slowly killing them over time. She ran a boarding house offering a home to elderly and disabled people, but she would kill them and bury their bodies in her backyard to steal their money afterward. For years, the missing bodies went unnoticed until police searched for one man. And when they started digging in the backyard, they uncovered 9 buried bodies.
9? Oh, hell nah, bro. By the way, these are true stories. There's a difference between a criminal and a monster. Yeah, she was a monster, bro.
He collected the frozen iguanas.
What the heck are it, bro?
Thinking they were dead. You see, in his country, iguanas were a common food, so he loaded them in his back seat, stocking up for a feast. But as the car warmed up, the cold-blooded lizards began to thaw, and one by one, they came back to life. In a panic, they scrambled over him, causing an accident and making him lose his meal.
Hey, yo. Lose his meal? Hey, at least they didn't lose his life, though. Yes, sir.
They smeared the sticky substance over the stranger's face in the middle of a busy airport.
What?
Believing they were part of a prank show. But moments later, the man collapsed to the ground, convulsing. And within minutes, he was dead. What the women didn't know was that the sticky substance was actually a deadly nerve agent, and the man was the estranged half-brother of North Korea's leader. The women had just committed an assassination and were arrested immediately, but the actual masterminds behind the operation were never caught.
When you're pranking someone, but you don't realize you're the one being pranked. Wow, that's scary.
When a cricket chirps, it rubs their wing that has a row of ridges against the other one that has a hardened edge. As it rubs them, the edge pulls against the ridges, and when it falls off each
That's
one,
how they do it.
It makes a clicking sound. When it rubs fast, these clicks blend into chirping, and the wings catch the sound and reflect it out, making it louder and attracting a mate.
Oh, so whenever you hear the cricket noises, they're mating. Okay.
Security footage captured the woman pressing all of the buttons and nervously peeking into the hallway.
All right.
Shortly after, she disappeared, leaving no trace for weeks. Later, guests began complaining about low water pressure in the hotel. And when maintenance checked the rooftop water tank, they found her body floating inside. There were no signs of foul play, and her death was ruled as an accidental drowning. But these tanks should have been sealed, and access to the roof was locked. She wouldn't have been able to get in by herself. How did she end up there, and why was she acting so strangely in the elevator? To this day, her death remains an unsettling mystery.
Whoa, bro. Yo, Zack defense, why are we being scared, bro? I'm already scared from your videos, and now you just gotta hit me with this thing, bro. This thing? Bro, come on. There was an entire documentary done on this. Turns out she wasn't taking her medication and believed something was after her. And the only safe place she could find to hide was inside the water tank. By the time she was in there, she tried to get out of the water level. It was too low for her to leap, but not enough for her to stand. Damn, that's pretty bad, bro. These are so sad. And these unbelievable deaths will only get worse throughout the video.
The man charged forward with the chainsaw, determined to kill his son.
Bro,
he had attacked him because they had been arguing. But before he could strike, the young man ran him over with the mower. The metal teeth chewed through his leg, ripping through chunks of flesh. Oh my gosh, bro. He was rushed to the hospital where his injured leg was amputated. He was later convicted of attempted first-degree murder.
Yeah, good. Charging out your own son with a chainsaw? That's some horror movie Jason stuff. Playing your son over an argument is next level crazy. The argument must have been who to win, chainsaw or lawnmower.
When the pharaoh died, they would strangle some servants while poisoning others.
What?
As they collapsed, they were buried in graves beside the king's tomb. Along with some of his girlfriends and even his dogs. This was so they could go with the pharaoh to the afterlife and continue serving him. And hundreds of them were sacrificed this way, making sure he was well taken care of even after death.
That's so cruel. cruel. That's so cruel. Oh my gosh. They can't even get a break out of death. Yeah, that was slavery to like the most extreme levels. Servant, what the helly?
The day after you die,
okay,
most of your blood settles in the parts of your body closest to the ground,
yeah, that makes
causing
sense.
purple and red patches to appear on the skin.
Okay.
Then bacteria and enzymes break down the organs, releasing gas that causes bloating. After a few weeks, all of the organs and soft tissue, including your eyes, liquefy, and your skin starts to fall off.
Oh, that's so nasty,
and over the
bro.
course of several years, your remaining tissue continues to decay, and eventually, all that's left is a skeleton.
Damn, bro. Hey, that's just human nature. Do you feel it? I think so. I think you feel it in the afterlife.
The boat struck at full speed, knocking the woman
my gosh.
underwater.
Wow,
You
that's
see,
insane.
She was in the water with her sons in a swimming area, but one boat had ignored the rules and was racing through the restricted waters.
My gosh. Wait, that's
She saw
insane.
it coming and had only seconds to react. She pushed her son out of the
way.
way.
W mom. Oh no!
And the famous musician was killed instantly.
Famous musician? No. Well, that's so tragic, bro.
Poop dropped on the assassin. As
What
he
the heck is this, bro?
to attack.
There's no
He
way.
had climbed up the toilet chute, which emptied
What is this?
outside the castle walls,
Okay.
unnoticed by any guards. And
Yeah,
he
that's
waited
smart.
silently until the Duke sat down to relieve himself. At that moment, the assassin lunged his spear straight into the Duke's butt.
Yo, there's no
It
way.
tore into his body, causing massive internal injuries.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
slowly
Up the
bled
bum.
for days before finally dying.
How would you? I mean, bro, you should have just died on the spot. Bro, what the?
Massive internal
Yeah. Massive internal injuries, bro. You would have died on the spot. You know what? This is. Wow. Wow. Going to the bathroom at a castle and some assassin shoots a spear up your butt.
Stab the shark and press the button in the knife's handle. This
That's
triggers
a carbon
CO2
knife, right?
canister hidden inside, causing it to burst.
This is
As it
actually
does,
crazy.
It shoots compressed gas through a tube in the blade before coming out of the tip. This freezing gas is injected into the wound and
Freezing
expands
gas.
violently, destroying the tissue around it. The shockwave is enough to explode the shark from the inside, killing it before it can kill you.
Wow. That's actually devastating, bro. That's an unbelievable death, bro. Getting stabbed by, because that knife is actually real, by the way. I believe it's like a barber knife. Yeah, one of these bad boys. It's called a wasp injection knife, bro. All right, so we have a video right here. It's called "I tested the $600 wasp CO2 injection knife." I actually want to see this for myself.
Cool. All right, so
that's ice.
Not much left to do, but just to push the button.
Wait. What is
This
this?
thing, it's ready to go. I'm gonna put some safety glasses
Okay,
on.
yeah, please.
Stab into this thing.
I'm assuming this is like a flesh. So the jelly is actually ballistic gel, and it's a testing medium designed to simulate the effects of bullet wounds in animal muscle tissue. So pretty much, imagine this was, I don't know, your leg, all right? So you get stabbed, right? That's really deep, right?
Come on. We gotta get all the way in there.
Okay.
Actually looks really good.
Okay,
Looks
imagine
so
that's
cool.
really stabbed in your leg. And ready?
Not much left to
Ready?
do,
Watch
just
this, watch
push
this,
the
watch this,
button.
watch this. Oh my gosh, this is actually about to be
Let's see what
crazy.
happens.
This is about to be crazy.
3, 2, 1.
Wait, what? Bro! What? Yo, that was so underwhelming. Wait, there's no way.
I was stabbed. The CO2 was coming out.
Oh.
A slight little bubble getting pushed close to the axe underwater. 1, 2.
Okay, let's test this. We're testing watermelon this time. Let's see.
3,
Imagine.
1.
What?
That wasn't as bad as I thought. 3/4 of our water. That was. That's a 2, 1.
That's cool. But I thought it would be like a crazy explosion. That was alright.
Your head is forced onto a curb, and your
What?
teeth and jaw are pressed against
Aye,
the concrete edge.
Shibai.
When the scalpel applies force,
Aye,
your jaw
Shibai.
is violently crushed against the curb.
Aye,
The pressure shatters your teeth and can break your jaw instantly. Your skull might also absorb some of the
Stop.
impact,
This is
causing
animations.
severe
Educational
trauma to your
YouTube.
brain. This can cause serious damage or even death.
That is a terrible way to pass away, bro. that looks terrible. Would not wish this on my worst enemy. Yeah, this is like, I don't know how. Dude, that is so cruel.
He dropped live wires into the river using electricity to stun the fish.
Bro, what are we doing?
And their dead bodies would float to the surface
koi fish,
for an easy catch. And it worked until he forgot to disconnect the wires before stepping in. The current rushed through him instantly,
that's what you get, buddy.
Paralyzing his muscles and stopping his heart. And by the time rescuers pulled him out, it was already too late.
Yo, why does he make that face though? that little freaky face. Yeah, that's actually trash, bro. I'm telling you, bro. This is like the most unbelievable deaths. Like, I'm telling you.
If you fall from a plane and are headed for a tree,
wait, I gotta learn this.
It's game over for you. But if the tree is tall enough, with dense, flexible branches, each one could actually work like a shock absorber. But it would take a 200-foot tree with hundreds of branches to slow you down enough to survive.
Oh my gosh.
And you would still break every bone in your body by the time you hit the ground.
I was hoping for something at the end, but I guess better than nothing, I guess. Yeah, it's game over both ways, gang. Yeah, I don't know, breaking every bone in your body, I don't know if I want to live through that. That's pretty tragic.
He attached himself to 1,000 helium balloons and lifted off as it began to rain. He was supposed to land in a town over 600 miles away, but the storm picked up and blew him all the way over the ocean. He called the Navy to try to tell them where he was, but he didn't know how to use his GPS. After weeks of searching, they found only his balloons until his body surfaced 2 months later.
2 months later is insane, bro. That's one way to go out. Bro, what was the game plan? Wouldn't we even do that? That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, what was the game plan, bro?
The antlers hooked into his belt.
What?
And took off running, dragging the emperor.
What the heck?
He slammed into rocks and trees, bones, and suffering internal injuries.
Oh my, bro!
His
imagine.
Guards struggled to keep up as the stag continued to run over the rough terrain. After 16 miles, a servant was able to catch up and cut the belt with a knife. Finally freed, the emperor accused the servant of trying to murder him and ordered for his execution. But the emperor's injuries were too severe, and he died shortly after.
Bro, that is the most cartoonish way to die. Like, bro, like actually, like, bro just kept going and going.
He watched the masked man grabbing and dragging his own lifeless body across the floor. You see, he had acquired this special security camera that let him see into the future. Curious,
okay, this has gotta be fake. There's no way.
Its abilities. But as soon as he turned on the live
camera,
his stomach dropped. He slammed the laptop shut. His hands were shaking. That was him. Dead.
Yeah.
He took a deep breath and forced himself to watch it again, over and over.
Bro is manifesting his own death.
The man grabbed and pulled his dead body across the floor.
Yeah.
He scoured the internet, searching for the mask.
What?
Nothing matched.
Squid Games.
He double-checked his locks and installed more.
For
days, he barely slept. Every sound sent a jolt through his chest.
Okay.
Then, one night, a sharp crack echoed through
there's
the
no
house.
way he manifested his death.
It was footsteps. He grabbed the knife and crept downstairs.
Why would you go downstairs?
In the daylight, he saw him, the masked man, holding a knife,
stepping
into the living room. He lunged. The struggle was quick and violent. The knife drove deep again and again until the body collapsed.
Did he just...
He gasped for air, hands trembling. Slowly, he reached down and
peeled
away the mask.
It's him?
His own face stared back at him. His stomach turned. His vision blurred. A knock at the door. Panic surged through him. He grabbed the mask, pulling it over his own face. And without thinking, he grabbed the body and began to drag it out of the room.
This did not happen. That's what I'm saying. What is this plot, bro? Literally dreamed someone killing him, but it was actually him all along.
The tank flew across the room, striking the boy in the head. You see, he was undergoing an MRI scan after a surgery. But during the procedure, a staff member accidentally brought a metal oxygen tank into the room. And when the machine was turned on, its massive magnet pulled the tank back into the chamber where the boy was laying. And despite medical attention, he passed away 2 days later.
I'm sorry if this is weird, but this is the most cartoonish death I've ever seen, bro. That magnet must be like so strong or something. How do you accidentally bring an oxygen tank? Yeah, I don't.
She cried tears of blood when she woke up from surgery. You see, she was supposed to have work done on the left eye, but the doctor had operated on the wrong one. Realizing the mistake, he pulled out a needle and injected it into the correct eye. Then he grabbed a pair of scissors, and without gloves or proper tools, he started cutting. She screamed for him to stop, but he ignored her. And when it was over, she was left with permanent damage to both eyes.
For anyone wondering, the doctor received medical license for revoked and he faced 12 years in prison. 12 years, that is not enough, bro.
After delivering the baby, he carved his initials in her
Yo, you know what? I respect it. You got
skin with a scalpel. And even though the nurses saw, they didn't tell the patient. When she got home, she felt excruciating pain. And when she looked in the mirror, she was horrified at what she saw. The cuts left permanent scars, meaning she needed extensive plastic surgery. She sued the doctor for almost $2 million. And even though he lost his medical license, he never went to prison for his crime.
What is this doctor doing? Like, what is the game plan in some people's minds? Like I get sometimes when people are dumb, they get crazy. I get it, but like, there's just like a level where you just don't pass, and this is one of them. Whoa, the doctor's name is actually Alan Zarkin. Wait, these are wow, it's actually crazy. New York Times. Alan, the doctor who carved initials gets probation.
Bodies of 9 hikers were found scattered across the snow on a mountain in Russia.
Whoa,
Rescuers were sent to find them, only to discover their tent had been cut open from the inside. Their bodies were found laying in the snow, and some were only dressed in their underwear. 2 bodies were missing eyes, and 1 was missing a tongue. They had fled the tent barefoot in sub-zero temperatures. 1 had a fractured skull, another had a twisted neck, and others showed signs of massive internal injuries. Though investigators ruled it as a natural event, like hypothermia, the bizarre details continue to fuel theories, some far darker than a natural event.
That was crazy. No eye, no tongue, twisted neck. Yeah, probably hypothermia. Yeah, probably, bro. Like, man, I hate when hypothermia twists my neck and fractures my skull. Not to mention when it steals my eyeballs.
Bleeding from his eyes and ears, convulsing violently before collapsing. Their guide rushed to help, but was struck by the same horrifying symptoms and
this is some horror movie stuff.
One by one, the others began vomiting blood, clawing at their throats, and collapsing. This horrifying scene unfolded when the group of hikers set out into Siberia's remote mountains. What started as a routine expedition quickly became a nightmare, with only 1 survivor making it down the mountain safely. Some think it was contaminated water, others say they were poisoned, but no answers have ever been confirmed.
This situation is talked about, and Dr. Stellan Sinku explains that sometimes volcanic or mountainous places have hot thermal waters and sulfuric acid ponds. These ponds have sulfuric vapors that can be displaced by the wind, settle, and lower ground. So if you're in Siberia mountains, there's a chance those poor souls walked on a settled sulfuric vapor spot. Wow, that's pretty bad. Yeah, so it looks like sulfur dioxide, whatever that is pretty bad for you, and you're gonna cough up and die. Wow, that's actually just tragic. That's Mother Nature, but like, unlucky, bro.
Locals in East London noticed the water from their beloved pump tasted weird.
So they kept drinking it?
To them, there was a nearby cemetery, and the calcium from the human bones was seeping into the underground stream. What was once thought to be a source of health had become a deadly concoction. Hundreds died in what came to be called the Pump of Death. Even today, the pump stands as a landmark, its wolf-headed spout a haunting symbol of the horror it once unleashed.
Wait, that's so sad. The Pump of Death? Bro, it's actually real. This is it. Oh, hell no. And it's closed too? Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Oh my gosh. Yo, why is this still up? Why is this thing so... Bro. Zack films this. He's really telling the truth.
The girl took a Tylenol to help
Okay.
with a cold.
Yeah.
But within hours, she was dead.
What?
Over the next few
No.
days, 6 more people in the area died the same way.
No.
The deaths triggered nationwide panic. Stores pulled Tylenol from
Wow.
shelves, and millions of bottles were recalled.
And this is real.
Authorities launched a massive investigation and discovered the capsules had been laced with cyanide.
What?
The tragedy led to the invention of tamper-proof seals, but the poisoner was never caught.
The girl took a time to help with a cold, but within hours, she was dead. Straight to the point, yeah. For those who don't know, this happened in Chicago in 1982. Man.
Propped his dead body into the front seat and
Yeah?
drove to the bank's drive-through
Would
window.
bank-
The women had lived with the man, and one was actually his girlfriend. But when they found him dead, they remembered the cash in his account. The bank teller didn't notice he was dead and let them withdraw the money. They then dumped him at a hospital and went home, but were both soon arrested.
Yo.
Her head got jammed between.
Oh my gosh! Dumping at the hospital was the stupidest decision they made. Yeah, like dropping them off at a hospital. Come on, bro. Like, what was the game plan there? Like, you gotta think ahead. And worst thing is, this is probably true. Crazy.
Her head got jammed.
Oh, what is this?
She tried to leave the parking garage.
Oh my
and her dead
God.
body was found hours later. At first, her death was a mystery, but when they played back the security footage, they saw that she leaned out of the car to pick up her dropped credit card. As she did this, her foot accidentally hit
Oh
the gas,
my
and
gosh.
the car sped forward, slamming into the machine.
Yo, YouTube.
head got
This is just educational, bro. Bro, that's bad. I hope this is fake. She made literally one single mistake for which she paid with her life. Oh my gosh, for anyone wondering, this happened in 2021. Her name was Victoria Strass. Victoria was killed in an accident at a downtown Columbus parking. Oh, no. That's so sad, bro. Announced dead, but still alive.
They placed her dead body in the morgue freezer. but
Morgue
she
freezer?
regained consciousness.
Oh my gosh, my worst fear.
Confused
That's
and
actually my worst
terrified,
fear.
She struggled inside, trying to escape. She pushed against the walls, desperate for help, but no one heard her.
Oh my
In her
gosh,
panic
bro.
To get out, she
That's
slipped
actually
on the
my...
metal and struck her face, causing a deadly injury to her head. When the morgue workers later opened the freezer, they discovered her bloody face.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and these unbelievable deaths will only get worse throughout the video.
She would poison her suitors.
poison her
then
suitors.
Chop up their bodies
Yo!
and bury them in shallow
What
graves
the-
around her property. She would place newspaper ads claiming to seek a husband to live on her secluded farm with her. Wealthy men would answer her ad, bringing cash and valuables to start their
Wow.
new life. But when they arrived, she did the unthinkable.
What?
Years later, her farmhouse mysteriously burned to the ground, and police found the
Oh
hundreds of
my
bones while
gosh,
searching
that's
the
so
area.
nasty,
At least
bro.
40 bodies were uncovered, including children. Police
Children!
assumed that she died in the fire.
What
but her
the-
body was never recovered.
Bro, nah, this girl, bro, is so psychotic, bro. She's a psychopath, bro. Poison them, make them dead, and chop them? Why do you gotta chop them? Just toss them in there, bro. Yo, this is that. I can fix her. How I find bro 2 days later. The lead mask mystery.
They were dressed in formal suits
Formal
and wearing
suits?
strange lead masks over their eyes when
Okay.
they found them in 1966.
Damn.
There
It's
were
actually
no
kinda
signs of
recent.
struggle or injury, just a cryptic note nearby with instructions to take capsules and await a signal. The lead
Await a
masks were
signal?
crudely cut and seemed to be for protecting their eyes.
What?
But from what? Some believe it was a blinding light during a spiritual or alien encounter. No toxins were tested and no clear cause of death was found. And to this day, the
Yo.
mystery remains unsolved.
That's really creepy, bro. What? For those who don't know, this happened in Brazil on August 20, 1966. The victims were Manuel Pierre da Cruz and Miguel Jose Viana. The bodies were found by a young boy who was flying a kite when he discovered them and called authorities. That's really weird, bro. Lincoln's eerie dream of death. Whoa, okay.
He dreamt he was walking through the
Okay.
White House late at night
Late at
and
night.
stumbled upon a room draped
Whoa.
in black. Inside, a casket rested in the center, guarded by soldiers. Confused, Lincoln asked one of them who had died, and the guard said it was the president.
Oh
who
my
had been
gosh.
assassinated.
Oh
Lincoln
my
woke up
gosh.
and dismissed it as just a dream. But 3 days later, he was shot in the back of the head at a theater.
That's actually what. Wait, bro, literally saw his future. I love the attitude there that he was holding hands with his wife in their last conversation. He was worried what people would think about doing so, but he wanted to do it. So anyways, bittersweet, but it must have been nice for her to know that he loved her right into the final moments of his life. Aww. Man with twin living inside of him. Oh, hell no.
Hair, bones, and limbs in the man's swollen stomach.
What?
You see, he ignored his unusually large stomach for years, until severe pain finally sent him to the hospital. Doctors thought it was a tumor, but during surgery, they found something shocking. You see, when he was inside his mother's womb, he had a twin that didn't fully develop.
Oh my gosh.
Separating, the twin became trapped inside him.
Oh my
keeping
gosh.
off the man's body for decades. The doctors removed it, and the man made a full recovery.
No. That's actually so nasty. That can't. Whoa. Just imagine another person living inside of you, and biologically, that shouldn't happen. Bro was carrying his homie for years, literally.
He planned to
sneak
sneak into
in?
the secret prison compound run by the Church of
Oh,
Scientology.
Scientology.
There were rumors of brainwashing and abuse, and he promised to uncover it by filming everything.
Okay.
He scaled the fence and posted
Scientology,
a photo,
bro.
and people waited eagerly for his updates. But not long after, his post suddenly stopped. Then
mean
his
stop?
final post was changed to read, "I apologize if I have offended any specific community. Trespassing is never funny."
Oh my
Soon
gosh, yep,
after,
he got caught, bro.
Deleted everything. Was he silenced by
Yep.
Scientology?
Nope, he's dead. Whoever the guy is, he's dead. For those who don't know what Scientology is, it's just some like crazy cult. Scientologists believe that humans are spiritual beings that reincarnate and have infinite beliefs that may not realize yet. Yeah, so just some cult stuff.
She walked into the huge industrial oven while working late in the
Okay.
bakery. Now somehow
Oven?
the door shut behind her and locked,
Oven?
trapping her inside. The oven then mysteriously began to
Mysteriously
heat
to
up,
begin-
quickly reaching over 500 degrees. Once her coworkers finally noticed, hours had passed, and the woman had been baked alive. Now, some people think the oven broke, resulting in a terrible accident, but others believe someone did it on purpose.
I work in a bakery, I work with these ovens, and this is foul play 100%. The oven turns on when shut. They begin heating back up. There's a latch inside that opens up the door. Someone outside 100% kept it shut. This happened at Walmart, and they refused to give the footage to police. What? Why they refuse to give her footage? What? You can't, bro. Bakers also do not bake all night. She was inside cleaning. Someone turned it on and shoved her inside until she died. Oh my gosh, that's so bad, bro. Whatever. That's such tragic, bro. Being baked alive, bro. I couldn't imagine the pain. That's how bad it is.
They saw strange footprints in the snow leading to their house.
Bigfoot! It's Bigfoot! Oh my gosh.
Meaning the person was still inside. Their keys went missing, and they heard footsteps in the attic at night. Then, one by one, they were lured to the barn and killed with a pickaxe. The murderer went inside and killed the rest of the family, but the investigators found something shocking.
What?
After the murders, the killer stayed at the house for days, feeding the livestock and even cooking meals. Despite several investigations, no one was ever caught, and this case still remains unsolved.
Bro, if it was unsolved, bro, then how do we know he killed the what? The family had a survival instinct of our average horror movie protagonist.
They say he had a second face.
Yo, what
One
the
that
heck?
could smile, cry, and even whisper terrible
That's
things at
crazy,
night.
bro.
Legend has it that the face couldn't eat or speak, but it was said to laugh when he cried and mutter words only he could hear. No doctor would remove it, and the man claimed it tormented him constantly.
Yo, that's
And
actually
according
scary.
to the legend, he couldn't take it anymore and ended his own life, leaving behind a chilling note about his suffering.
His stories were never born yet, bro. Like Isha, and these are real too. Like they're actually real. They're not fake, and they're so like weird. Like we had like the two-faced one, the being baked in the oven, which is so unfortunate. and there's so many more. For those wondering, Edward Morte is the subject of a haunted 19th century urban legend. According to the tale, he was an English nobleman born with a second face on the back of his head. This devil twin was said to whisper malevolent things to him at night and drive him into madness. Despite his pleas, Doctor allegedly refused to move his second face. Tragically, Morte took their own life at age 23. Damn, bro. I see this. Oh my gosh, it's actually real, bro. Oh my gosh. His name is Edward Moorcake, and you already see it, bro. Look at his face. Look at his face. Oh nah. Oh my gosh.
They had no idea there was a corpse under their bed as they went to sleep in their motel room. They only noticed an awful smell. To cover it, they burned incense, but it only got worse. Finally, someone investigated and found a woman's body hidden beneath the mattress. You see, she had been killed and stashed there, and over the next 2 months, her body slowly
2 months?
As it did, the room was rented out to unsuspecting.
So you just didn't notice a smell? Oh nah, that's wild. The case of Sonny McBrook, whose body was found on the motel in 2006, bro. That's literally only 19 years old, bro. She was allegedly murdered by her boyfriend, Lakeith Moody, which was on the trial for her death. Oh my gosh.
As they pulled up to the haunted lighthouse, his friend told him that anyone who went up never came back down. No bodies, no answers, just gone forever. He warned his friend not to go.
So what?
But curiosity got the better of him. He told him he would call from the top to prove he was okay.
Bro, okay, like before we like even go further, if there's any cases like this where you just like disappear or people disappear when they reach to a certain point of, I don't know, point A to point B, bro, why won't you just go in a group of like 20, bro? You can't lose. And then you have police standing outside, guarding the outside, ready to attack, bro. Like, bro, you please.
In hand,
Use your...
He stepped through the door and disappeared up the stairs. The climb was long, but at the top, there was nothing, really. Just a quiet room and an ocean view. Not scary at all. He pulled out his phone, but there was no service. And that's when he noticed it. A small room off to the side.
Oh my gosh.
In it was an old rotary phone, still connected. He picked it up and called his friend, and let him know he was speaking from an old phone he found in this cool room. The friend froze. There was no phone or room in this lighthouse.
What?
He circled the base, looked up, and saw him standing on an old rotting plank, holding his cell phone. A gust of wind came hard off the sea. The call cut out, and only the lighthouse remained.
Oh my gosh, fiction. Okay, I was about to say, I was like, yo, there's no way that's real, bro. The way Zack voices horror stories make it 10 times better, bro. Oh my gosh. Ran out of trauma, so now you're just handing out nightmares for free. Yo, I thought this was real, and I was like, yo, there's no way, bro. Wait. If you're wondering what this place is, this is Flannel Isos Lighthouse in UK. The first case about it was in 1900 when 3 keepers went missing in the lighthouse. Uh-oh. No! No! Oh!
Those who hear the story of her death
I can fix her.
by her spirit.
No, I can fix her, bro.
And she moves by
Oh yeah, I can fix her, bro. I can fix her.
Her bones make a clicking noise, giving her the
Ew.
name Tech. If she finds you walking alone at night, she'll chase you down.
I can fix her!
Speed. And if
Oh
she
yeah.
catches you, legend says she'll slice you in half, leaving you legless just like her.
Thank you, Zack. Now there's now a legless lady chasing me down the street.
The car veered off the road, crashing
Oh no.
into a ditch, and witnesses called the police. They rushed to
Ditch.
the scene expecting a recent accident, but in the dense bushes, they found something chilling.
What?
The car hidden for 5 months.
5 months. Only 5
Inside
months.
was the long dead body of a man who'd been missing since the summer. But multiple witnesses claimed they saw the crash as if it just happened. The mystery has never been
What?
solved and haunts locals to this day.
What? Plot twist, witnesses actually was responsible for the crash, but waited 5 months to make the call. Damn. Okay.
He invented special glasses to help his daughter, who
Yeah.
was going blind, according to the legend. But when she put them on, she saw that the earth was inside the stomach of an enormous creature.
What?
This creature controlled humanity's minds.
What?
We wouldn't realize
Are
we
we
were
being controlled?
beaten, but the
No.
vision was so terrifying that she took off the glasses and pulled out her own own eyes with her bare hands. Her father burned the designs and mysteriously disappeared, and the glasses were never seen again.
That's actually so scary. Yo, pulling out your own eyes, just that just doesn't look right. For those wondering, Kaylee, a 19-year-old from Oregon, USA, that's in my country, pulled out her eyes in 2006 while hallucinating under the influence of a substance. Bro, are we...
A razor blade was placed on a moving arm, which was lowered with a crank. As the
Okay.
arm ran on a track, the razor was pressed against a grinding disc. This was covered in tiny, hard bumps. As the blade slid across it, small fragments were chipped off, gradually sharpening the edge. After a few cranks, a mechanism lifted the arm, and the blade was rotated, being placed back on the grinder. Once both sides of the razor were incredibly sharp, it would be placed in a handle and used to shave.
Okay. I didn't expect this. Hey, this is more wholesome. I like this.
Have you ever wondered how nuclear bombs actually work?
Oh, let's see. I actually don't
Mechanics
know.
For the earliest bombs were not as complex as you might think. You see,
It's
the bomb
early,
known
though.
as Little Boy functioned much like a gun. An explosive detonator forced a small cylinder of uranium to crash into a bigger one. And the impact? It drove the uranium to a supercritical level, sparking a self-sustaining nuclear reaction.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Alright, let's keep up with these type of videos, Zack D Films.
He threw a broken fridge down the mysterious hole.
Okay.
Even though he waited to hear if it hit the bottom, no sound ever came back up.
Whoa.
A neighbor threw his dead dog down there. And a
What?
few days later, it was seen running through his garden.
Huh?
But living dogs refused to go near it. The owner of the property lowered 80,000 feet of fishing line, attaching weights to check the depth. He even added candy to the end. In case he was hitting water, the candy would dissolve, but it still never touched the bottom. Eventually, black vans showed up, and government agents seized his land, paying the man off and sending him to the other side of the world. And to this day, no one's been able to prove anything.
Okay, I gotta know what this is, bro. This is why the Secret Service is annoying, bro.
Sprinkled salmonella over the salads.
Okay. I mean, these are definitely gonna be the world's craziest animations, bro. Zack D Films never disappoints.
In local restaurants. And soon, hundreds of people started
Bleh.
fever and diarrhea spreading
Ew.
fast. Now, at first, people blamed the workers, saying they didn't wash their hands. The police soon found that a local cult was responsible,
Cults?
poisoning over 700 people.
Oh
This
my.
was to stop them from voting in the local election, so the cult's candidate had a better chance of winning. But instead of winning, they were charged and put in prison.
Let's go. That's a W. That's a good ending right there, bro. But unfortunately, those 700, almost 800 victims did have to suffer. You gotta stop at the first vomit. That's what I'm saying, bro. The diarrhea did not need to be animated, bro. This animation was absolutely dumb. Yeah, that was craziest animations on earth.
They connected the blood vessels as they pushed his amputated hand into the incision
Ew,
on his
bro,
calf.
what the-
This pumped fresh blood into the hand, keeping it alive. You see, he had gotten into an accident at work. and
Oh
doctors
my.
knew they had to act fast, but his arm was too damaged to reattach it right away.
So what
And
did-
if the hand didn't get blood soon, the tissue would die. So they decided to attach it to his leg while his arm healed. Then, once it was ready, the hand was still fresh, and they were able to reattach it.
That's so nasty. Good thing this is an animation because, bro, imagine that in real life, bro. Like, actually, yo, Zack D Films, world's craziest animations. Not only it's crazy, it's based on a true story, bro.
A clown was seen climbing over a cemetery wall.
A
late at
clowns?
night.
Oh,
He
hell
turned
no.
around and slowly waved before running into the woods.
Oh, that-
Soon, more clowns were seen lurking on street corners, often holding
Oh, no.
balloons or even
Oh, no.
weapons. These clown sightings spread across the world, causing people to panic as police issued warnings. Eventually, stores began to recall clown costumes, and even Ronald McDonald had to keep a low profile. Some sightings turned out to be publicity stunts, while others were just cruel pranks. And even though they eventually faded, for some people, the sight of a clown still sparks fear.
Holy snap. Oh my gosh. I'm not even joking, bro. I literally got goosebumps for this. Bro, whoever made clowns, kill yourself. Wait. I shouldn't be saying that because if I say that, that. Now the clowns are gonna come after me. Okay, nah, let's be friends, clowns.
They drilled the deepest hole ever dug, reaching over 7 miles into the earth. And after 30 years of
30
digging,
years? What the
they
heck?
lowered down a microphone and captured this sound.
Alright. Yep, I'm quitting the job. Your boy, I'll see ya. I'll be in Europe.
Now, many believed they had drilled into hell itself, and even some said a demon had escaped through the hole. But it turned out the recording had never actually happened.
What?
Instead,
Oh, nah.
Christian TV networks cut together sounds from a horror movie and used it to try and prove that hell exists.
Bro, you can't prove hell exists like that, bro. Like, it only happens when you die in the afterlife. As a Christian myself, what those Christians did was unacceptable. That's what I'm saying, bro.
If a mouse eats food that's contaminated with toxoplasma, it loses its instinctive fear of cats. This dangerous shift in behavior is not an accident, but a manipulation by this parasite. You see, toxoplasma needs to get into a cat in order to reproduce.
Why a
it
cat?
causes the infected mouse to become unusually attracted to the scent of cat urine, bringing it closer to cats and essentially causing it to sacrifice itself. This sinister survival strategy ensures that toxoplasma completes its life cycle in the cat.
Yo, that's cruel, bro. The cats are cute, bro. Like, a nice cat is just so loving, and then you have these stupid... dude, I swear, bro, the world would be a better place if we didn't have parasites, bugs, mosquitoes, and mosquitoes, bro. Like, I swear, oh, and those flies. Those, them trash flies... They gotta go. Maggots. Any bugs, bro. Spiders, jumping spiders, crocodiles. Like, bro. Screw parasites.
A neighborhood in Niagara Falls started noticing strange smells in the 1970s.
Okay.
The water started to taste odd, and they started to become sick.
Oh, no.
But what they didn't know was that their homes were actually built on top of a toxic waste dump.
no.
You see, decades prior, before the neighborhood existed, over 20,000 tons of hazardous chemicals had been buried there by a chemical company. And when the
Wait, chemical companies could just do that? What? Yo, sue that chemical company, bro. Bro, that's like literally like littering, but like times a billion, bro.
the area was developed for housing, these
Whoa.
chemicals began to seep into basements, backyards, and the local water supply. The disaster led to massive evacuations, and many families suffered long-term health effects.
Yo, screw these. Whoa, yo, what's that chemical company, bro? This is why waste management needs regulation. That's what I'm saying, bro. Love canal, death canal. Yeah, it says the love canal disaster, bro. Yeah, that's the death canal, bro.
He took pictures as the ash burst from the volcano, racing toward him at over 100 miles per hour. But he didn't run. You see, he knew there was no time to escape, so he kept documenting the eruption as the sky went black. When the cloud got too close, he wound the film back into its case. He packed the camera, placed it in his backpack, and lay on top of it to protect it. And 17 days later, rescuers found his body under the ash. Later, his photos were published around the world, the only ones taken so close to the eruption.
I mean, he accepted his death and did something he wouldn't regret. Honorable. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's just unfortunate, bro. Like, damn. Oh my gosh, this is talking about Robert Landsberg, who died in the eruption of Mount St. Helens on May 18, 1980. Are you serious? This is, bro, I like how, like, Zack films, even though, oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my gosh, look, this is actually real. Like, even though he has, like, the crazy animations, what's, like, a horrifying fact that they're based on a true story. That's wild.
She was dragged away from the boat by a strong current, and when her brother tried to save her, they were both pulled down the river.
No.
Their dad jumped in and tried to catch up, but the kids were too far away.
No.
Now, if they had kept going, all three could have drowned. So instead, the boy swam for help while his father stayed behind. He doggy paddled over a mile until he finally reached the shore, and his family was rescued thanks to his bravery.
Hey, W animation, let's go. Dude, honestly, stuff like this just makes me so happy, bro. This is how heroes are born. There's a serious amount of respect, because 1 mile ain't little for this young man. 1 mile swimming, Yo, that's crazy now. Like, you can run a mile, right? But like, swimming is hard. It ain't no joke.
If you get a splinter, most people would rip into their skin with tweezers to dig it out. But if you cut the end off of a normal syringe, then press the open end firmly onto your skin directly over the splinter, you can quickly pull the plunger up, creating a suction inside the syringe. And this forces the splinter to move upwards, pulling it straight out of your skin.
Oh, that joint looks painful, bro. I remember those times when I had a splinter, bro. Oh my gosh, it was the worst. And when it was so deep, bro, when it was so deep inside of me, like, bro, this is the first Zack films which can actually implement his ideas. These animators don't need a raise, they need a rest.
The owner would beat the goat with
what?
sticks.
Hey!
He did this to make it aggressive towards humans, so it would guard him. And this went on for a long time.
Yo, educational YouTube.
But one day, the goat had enough. It charged forward, ramming its sharp horns straight into the man's stomach, twice. As the man stumbled away, the goat chased him.
Let's go, goat!
Then kicked him off, and he hit the ground hard, dying within minutes. When his body was found, the goat was captured, but instead of being put down, it was taken in by animal rescuers.
Yo, screw that abusive man. The goat is such a good for stopping animal abuse. Exactly, bro. What do animals do, bro? Like, bro, like, we humans already, like, captured and, like, conquered so many things. Like, bro, like, let them live, bro.
They yanked out the feathers around the chicken's butt and pressed the butthole directly onto the infected lump, strapping it on. You see, they thought it would suck out poison from the patient, and they would even seal its beak to encourage it to breathe through its butt. Once the chicken suffocated, they immediately replaced it with another one. And this method was used for centuries before people realized it didn't actually work.
Yo, I don't know, bro. I don't know. And like, bro, these aren't fake. Like, again, like, these are the world's craziest animations and they're based on the true story, bro. Like, I don't even know. Mad respect to the chickens who went through the pain, bro. That's so weird, bro. Mad respect to the doctor who let monks know it didn't work.
The woman was tied
no,
to a wooden chair
she
attached
bad.
to a long beam hanging over a river. Then she was slowly lowered into the water while crowds watched. You see, this device was meant to punish loud, rude women by humiliating them in front of the town. After a few seconds underwater, they would pull the lever, lifting her out, soaked and gasping for air. Then they would dunk her again and again, ensuring that she had learned her lesson.
Damn, that's crazy. Karens have been real quiet since this drop. Just to make this worse, the rivers in those were full of raw sewage and poop. Oh, that's so nasty, bro. But I'm so glad I'm born today. Like, honestly, I'm so grateful, bro. Like, bro, if I was born, bro, like, imagine being born in the 1600s, bro. Bro, you stink. All right, I'm gonna keep it real. You stink. Golden teeth, bro. Your hands are dirty. You feel dirty. You're nasty. And when you do the nasty, you know what I'm saying? Bro, that joint was probably stink booty, but like, that joint nasty.
If you put super glue on a wound, it will actually seal the skin shut. And you might think this is a quick way to avoid stitches. But if the cut isn't clean, dirt and bacteria can get trapped inside, leading to a serious infection. Instead, ask a doctor to clean the wound properly, and they might even use their own fast-drying glue instead of stitches. But this is a special formula, allowing it to heal without an infection.
Yeah, I would assume so, bro. Like, guys, don't do that, bro. Like, getting, like, real, like, the Elmer super glue, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, don't do that. Let the doctors and the professionals handle this.
After being cut off, its blood vessels and nerves were attached to the neck of a larger dog. And once everything was connected, the small dog's head and front legs were sewn onto the larger dog's back. This disturbing setup forced them to share the same blood supply, keeping them both alive. And for 3 weeks, the small dog's head could move and bark. Now, sadly, the strain was too much on their bodies, and both dogs eventually died.
What? What? Yo, what are we thinking? It was cruel to kill the dogs, but because of this experience, we know a lot more about organ transplantation and are able to save many lives. I mean, if that's the case, it's like one of those feelings, right? You want to like, oh my gosh, it's one of those like, would you rathers? Would you rather save your mom or save 1,000 people, or save 1,000 people or kill your mom? Whew. Average Japanese World War II experiment, but on humans, yeah, bro. Yo, if somehow, bro, for context on this, bro, just know it's brutal. Like it's like their type of torture is pulling your fingernails out, and you're still alive, by the way, still alive.
If you drop a brick and a feather at the same time, the brick will hit the ground first. That's because the feather's flat shape spreads out, so it bumps into more air as it falls. It's also too light to push against the air, so it falls slowly. Now, the brick has more area for the air to press on, but it's heavy and compact, so it cuts through the air more easily and doesn't slow down much, meaning it'll fall first. But if you put them in a vacuum chamber and take away all the air, there's nothing to slow either one down. Gravity actually pulls everything down at the same time, no matter how heavy it is. So as they fall side by side, they actually hit the ground at the exact same time.
Wait. Bro, this literally debunks the question where which one falls faster? 5,000 kilograms or pounds of a brick, or 5,000 kilograms or pounds of a feather? And the brick actually wins.
She woke up with chunks of hair scattered across her pillow. And the same thing happened to almost a dozen other girls in the area. Oh my gosh. Parents nailed their windows shut and slept in their children's rooms, fearing that the phantom barber would appear. Even though police searched for him, they found nothing. But when they investigated a separate attack, they found scissors and hair in the suspect's yard. Even though he said he was innocent, he was arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Yo, craziest animations. It's like the Phantom Barber. This is wicked work, by the way, bro. Imagine first day of school, right? And you just you wake up, boom, terrible haircut, bro. You got bald spots and all that. This is only one of the weirdest criminals I've ever heard. Like, why did you want to cut little girls' hair? I don't know. That's so weird. No more barbers have been real quiet since this dropped.
The baseball starts with a round cork.
Okay.
It's coated in rubber to form the core, then tumbled in glue to coat it. Next, 1,000 feet of yarn is wrapped around the core.
1,000
3
feet?
different thicknesses, and this gives the ball its bounce. Finally, 2 figure-8 leather pieces are placed over it, and a worker uses red cotton thread to make exactly 108 stitches, binding the pieces together. The ball is rolled and pressed to tighten the stitches and smooth the surface, and each ball is tested before being sent to the field.
Whoa, that's cool. See, finally we're getting good animations. Man, this wasn't that crazy, and let's hopefully it stays like this.
They release threads of silk, which the wind catches, lifting them into the air like a balloon. It's called ballooning, and it's how spiders travel long distances. But sometimes millions do it at the same time. In one Australian town, people looked up to see the sky full of tiny black specks. Now, they thought it was pollen or ash until it started landing on them. Millions of spiders were drifting down, carried by invisible silk parachutes that would end up covering everything.
Yeah, that's crazy. Never mind. No, I don't think if you're gonna watch Zack films, bro, like it will always be crazy. Oh, that's scary, bro. That's like a nightmare. Like literally a nightmare. After he said Australia, I stopped being amazed. Yeah, honestly, anything Australia. For those that live in Australia, bro, like y'all got it. All right. People with arachnophobia are having heart attacks. Woo.
He wandered into the woods after a night of drinking and never came back. His friends panicked and called the police. A massive search party was launched, but the man was just wandering around the forest drunk, and as he saw the search party walking past, he decided to help. He trekked through the fields for hours looking for the missing man, but when they called out his name, he looked confused and told them he was here. He didn't realize he was actually looking for himself.
What? That's hilarious. Bro was drunk and still locked into help finding a missing person. What a hero, yup. He's a hero for finding him for real, bro.
It slithered toward her as she was washing dishes and suddenly bit her thumb. And as she screamed, The 16-foot-long python wrapped itself around her body. The 64-year-old was pinned to the floor of her kitchen, unable to move as the snake squeezed tighter with every breath she took. She screamed for help for 2 hours. Finally, a neighbor heard her cries and called the police. And when rescuers arrived, they beat the snake with a crowbar until it finally let go and slithered away. The woman survived, but the python was never captured.
Oh, I'll be dead with the miss. I'm feeling immense pressure on chest. She's really brave. A lady fought for 2 hours until the help her up. Yeah, honestly, y'all don't realize that them snakes, bro, they be, you know what I'm saying? They be squeezing the hell out of you.
When the riders grip their handlebars too hard, the muscles in their forearms can actually get too big, and the tissue holding them together gets pulled tight. Inside, the blood vessels are squeezed, stopping the blood from flowing and turning their arms numb.
What?
To fix this, an incision is made in their arm, and the tissue holding the muscles together is cut. This releases the pressure and allows the muscles to grow while opening the blood vessels, but it leaves them all with a massive scar.
Whoa, really? Yo, what? Whoa, that's crazy. That massive scar is a sign of pure dedication of racing. Having surgery just to race shows that racers have a true passion for racing. That scar is honestly kind of tough, bro. That's crazy. Like, after watching this, I feel like it's fake, but remember, this is Zack D films we're watching, so that scar is probably real. Like, dude, that's insane, bro.
He flew over the handlebars and landed on a branch. It pierced 4 inches into his chest, puncturing a lung and snapping 8 ribs. Adrenaline kicked in, and he thought it was just a shoulder injury. So he stood up and walked through the woods while bleeding. And instead of calling 911, he just called his wife. Doctors later found a hole in his lung, a torn vein, and a wound half a centimeter from his heart.
Gosh.
But he somehow survived.
Look at this guy. Lucky, yeah, boy. Look at him. Smile. You lucky. You lucky. The chillest dude in dangerous situations. But he somehow survived. Never gets old. Type of plot armor the main character gets, bro. I need this type of plot armor, bro. What the? Bro, 0.5 centimeters? Bro, that's insane. That's so close to the heart.
The assassin shot him in the back, but somehow he survived.
What?
Doctors tried to pull out the bullet, and they used their bare hands. Since they didn't believe in germs. As they dug into his flesh, their dirty fingers spread bacteria into the wound, and soon the president's wound got infected. Over the next 80 days, he lost nearly 100 pounds. By the time he died, his body was filled with pus. Now, the assassin claimed that he didn't kill the president. The doctors actually did, but he was still executed for his crime.
Hey, that's Zack D films for you, bro. That one was nasty, bro. That was nasty. I hate the. Ew, that's. That assassin had more common sense than the doctors.
As he snuck onto the roof, he didn't see the glass window, which was painted to match. As soon as he stepped on it, he crashed through the glass, landing head first on the gym floor. You see, he climbed up there to try and steal a spotlight from the school, but the fall left him paralyzed and unable to speak. And instead of being arrested, he sued the school. They ended up paying him over $250,000, plus a monthly salary for the rest of his life, even though he was robbing them when he fell.
Wait, there's no way. I can't believe this. And this is true. What? Suing a school that you try to steal is insane. That's what I'm saying, bro.
They would throw the harpoon into the whale.
Stop, bro. Come on, bro. With the animal, you know, hurting? Come on.
To suddenly panic. And as it tried to escape, it would drag the small boat behind
Yes!
it. Now, it could swim for miles and
Screw
reach
the
speeds
humans.
of 23 miles per hour, meaning the hunters had to hold on tight. But as it dragged the boat, it got tired. And since it was losing blood, it would eventually grow weak. That's when the hunters would reel it in and slaughter it. But some whales would dive deep instead of swimming forward, drowning the whalers before they could kill it.
Let's go. Screw them humans. Getting drowned by the whale's peak karma. Yep.
If a nuke is being dropped on your city and you try to shoot it down, some people think that would make it explode. But after piercing the armor, the bullet would have to ignite a layer of explosives that surround the core. And this is what would set off the nuclear explosion. But this layer of explosives is incredibly stable and can only be triggered by a detonator. Now, the detonator wire is only a fraction of an inch wide, meaning if the bullet cut it in half, it would actually disable the bomb, making it drop to the ground without going off.
Yo, that would be some cool superhero stuff. Like shooting a bomb in the air. That's some cool super stuff. But like that bomb is going like millions miles per hour. So hate it when a nuke drops on my city. No, Zach, I never in fact thought about shooting a nuke with a gun. Yeah.
If you jumped off a skyscraper holding a leaf blower, could it work like a jetpack?
What?
A leaf blower only pushes out 7 cubic feet of air per second, meaning you would just crash to the ground. You would need a leaf blower the size of a motorcycle, pushing out air as fast as a jet engine just to survive the fall. But even if you could hold on to it, the engine is heavier than the tube. This means it would flip you upside down, blasting you into the ground at higher speeds. You get stabbed in the eye. Place a cup around the knife and wrap it in gauze to stabilize it. Then cover both eyes. This is because if one moves, the other moves too, which can tear the wound open even more. Keep your head still and get to the emergency room, where doctors will carefully remove it before sealing up the hole in your eye.
Oh my gosh. If this is the start of the 1 hour of Zack Film's most cursed animations, bro, we have like 59 minutes to go, bro. If you get stabbed in the eye with a diabolical way to start a conversation. I think every English person here found your advice very useful, Zack. Yeah.
She was trying to pull her 2-year-old daughter out through the open passenger window, but as she reached in, the toddler's tiny hand pressed the electric window switch. The glass slid up, closing tightly around her neck, and in seconds,
oh my
her
gosh,
was cut off. Her husband found her slumped against the car, unconscious. He smashed the glass to free her and rushed her to the hospital, where she eventually died from the pressure of the window.
Wow, wait, what? Wait, that's actually so sad. Oh my gosh. Imagine how horrible that child must feel, especially as they get older. Yeah, this is truly heartbreaking. No one deserves such a painful end. By the way, y'all, all of these videos by Zack Films is real. They're non-fiction. So what you just saw is based on the true story.
If you tried to hit a cannonball with a wooden bat, it would shatter into splinters and rip your arm right out of its socket. That's because a cannonball travels at almost 700 miles per hour.
600-700 miles per hour.
Is stronger, but the cannonball would still turn it into shrapnel, and you'd still lose an arm. You would need a tungsten alloy bat 4 inches thick and swung with superhuman strength if you wanted to stop a cannonball.
That feels like he has the imagination of a kid with some of these videos.
The giant steel shovels slam into the ground in a circle around the trunk. Then they drive down deep, slicing straight through roots as they form a cone-shaped basket under the tree. Now, some roots are cut, but most are lifted inside the packed ball of soil. Then the hydraulics pull upward, raising the entire tree out of the ground.
Guacamole.
The spade carries the tree to its new spot, with the root ball still clamped tight inside the blades. The truck lowers the tree into place, and the shovels slide back out one by one, ready to keep growing.
Nice. Hey, this is good. We want to have like less cursed animations, Zack Films, all right? Let's keep it like this, hopefully.
Your poop normally travels smoothly.
Yeah, this is cursed, bro.
Colon. But if you're constipated, your intestines absorb too much water from your poop. This makes it dry and hard, causing it to move very slowly through your colon. Eventually, the slow-moving poop impacts with more poop, causing a blockage. And this can lead to a large hard mass that completely stops the colon from moving your poop.
Yep, I take back what I just said. That yeah, Zack Films would traumatize, disturb, and curse me with his animations. Your poop. What a great way to start a conversation. What is your biggest fear, Zack Films animations?
You might get poop dumped on you if you're walking down a street in 18th century Edinburgh. Back then, it was common for all types of waste to be tossed out of windows.
Are you serious?
To combat this, a law was passed saying waste could only be thrown between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m.
What?
And before throwing the poop, you were supposed to yell out Gardy Lou as a warning to those below. Now, this law has never actually been repealed, meaning it's still technically legal to throw your poop here.
Bro, use toilets, bro. I don't care, bro. I don't care if it's the 18th century, bro. Go get a toilet, bro. How am I sprinting to avoid the poop shower set me?
Criminals head.
Woo! Woo! Wow, okay, we started out strong, huh? We started out strong, okay.
It was cut off and then cleaned to remove blood and tissue. Then it was soaked in a chemical that kills bacteria and preserves tissue. The head was then placed inside a glass jar, which was filled with more of this chemical, and the jar was sealed, making sure it was airtight. This process kept the heads intact, so they could be studied later.
If you think this was crazy, bro, these animations from Zack films only get crazier throughout the video.
They cut into her face to tighten loose skin around her cheeks
Ew.
and eyes. You see, she had flown overseas for the surgery because it was cheaper.
Turkey.
But when she arrived, the clinic was in a hospital's basement. And after the operation, they wrapped her up and sent her home the same day. But her scars didn't heal correctly, and they pulled her skin too tightly. This stretched her eyelids, preventing them from closing all the way. Now she lives with dry, burning eyes that water constantly, and they'll never fully shut again.
That's so sad. Oh my gosh.
They put a tack on her chair.
Are you
as
serious? Oh, okay.
a joke.
Yo.
And when she it pierced her skin. She let out a yell before laughing at the prank. But a few days later, she began to feel sick.
Oh.
You see, the tack actually had bacteria on it, which entered her bloodstream through the wound. The infection quickly spread, causing severe blood poisoning. Doctors did everything they could, but unfortunately, she didn't make it.
Wait, that's actually so sad. And by the way, bro, all of Zack films videos are based on the true story. None of it is fiction, so this is tragic. This one's actually sad. The fact that she laughed makes it look like the person who put the attack on the chair was her friend. Can't imagine how they felt afterwards. That's so sad, bro.
The ghost of the dead woman
Whoa!
appeared to her mother.
What the heck?
Her husband had claimed that she died from a heart attack, but the ghost insisted he had actually strangled her in a fit of rage. After 4 nights of haunting, they finally dug up her body, and shockingly, the autopsy confirmed her neck had been broken. The husband was arrested and put on trial, where the jury convicted him of murder based on the testimony of a ghost.
What? Based off a ghost? For those wondering, in the 1900s, this was a legend and a girl went to her grave and the ghost started begging her to help her. Wow.
If you dropped a nuke on a hurricane, you might think the force would be enough to completely destroy it. But hurricanes release the same amount of energy as a 10 megaton bomb every 20 minutes.
Every 20
That's
minutes.
almost 700 times bigger than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. To destroy a hurricane, you'd need to change the air pressure at the eye of the storm. But even the biggest nuclear bomb in the world would only change it for a few seconds. So instead, you would need to drop 700 nukes, one after the other, to destroy the hurricane completely.
Yeah, Zack films. Of course, I got nukes in the back of my hand, or in my inventory, bro. Florida be taking notes. That's actually a scary thought. You just wasted a good nuke. The hurricane still comes smiling at you while carrying radioactive materials in the wind. So that's actually pretty scary.
The paper cylinder rotates, showing pictures of a horse through slits on the side. But when it spins fast, it looks like the horse is running. That's because your eyes still see the first image before the next one quickly replaces it.
Damn, we're
and
slow.
This creates the illusion of motion. Today, instead of cylinders, screens now show dozens of pictures every second. Your eyes blend those fast-moving frames into what looks like smooth, continuous motion, but it's essentially the same idea.
That's very cool, bro. The horse. I've been running for 150 years. Can I get a break? Respect to the horse for running this long.
A red-hot iron is pushed into the tree, wounding it on purpose. Then a syringe filled with salt water is emptied
Salt water?
inside the hole. This causes the tree to flood the damaged area with sticky resin to stop the damage. And over the next few years, the resin slowly spreads, turning into a sweet-smelling wood deep inside the trunk. Finally, it's harvested and sold for thousands of dollars per pound before being made into a luxury perfume.
Did we just bro, we just unlocked the method, bro. For those wondering, agwood is the fragrance ingredients in this demonstration. Oh, okay. Keep in mind, you can't do this any tree. It's specific types of tree. Okay, I was about to say. I was like, bro, literally just gave us the method to make millions of dollars.
A butterfly's tongue is as thin as a strand of hair and hollow like a tiny straw. And it could be threaded through the eye of a needle. Now, if you took a hippo's tongue and dropped it onto a microwave, it would cover the entire surface. But the blue whale's tongue is so massive that if you plopped it onto a car, the 5-ton muscle would crush the metal completely. completely, flattening it like a pancake.
Whoa, that's crazy. From tiny to giant tongues. Wow. This is exactly why Zack would never run out of things to post, bro. Bro, I learned better from Zack D films than from school, bro. It's actually insane.
Patients would crawl inside the
Whoa.
dead whale's body, leaving just their heads sticking out. They'd stay there for up to 30 hours, lying in the decomposing blubber. During this time, they'd breathe in the gas from the rotting carcass, believing it would cure their arthritis. And this all started because a drunk man once fell into a beached whale and claimed it cured his pain. Soon, whale hotels started appearing, offering this service to patients. But there's nothing to prove it ever actually worked.
The human race, it's just something different, bro. Whale hotels? Are we serious right now? Trusting a drunk man about this is insanity. That's what I'm saying, bro.
He lit the dynamite, ready to throw it out of the garage door.
Okay.
But his friends rushed in, unknowingly blocking the opening. So
Oh
instead,
my-
he aimed for a nearby window. But it hit the frame
Oh
and bounced
my
back,
gosh.
exploding on the man.
That's so
They
lucky.
rushed to a boat to take him to the nearby hospital, but the waves on the river were too high. And halfway there, the man stood up, then fell overboard. He disappeared into the
Oh!
water and was never seen again.
Oh, bro, that's unlucky, bro. Imagine missing the window, bro, and now your life changed. Ah, that's tragic, bro. This is like failing every single multiple choice question on the test.
If everyone on Earth farted at the same time, you
Ew.
might think the combined release of gas would create an unprecedented global explosion. But is this actually true? Well, human farts can contain trace amounts of highly flammable gas. But
Wait,
even
really?
If all 8 billion people released this gas, it still wouldn't be enough to have a serious impact. It would just cause loud sounds and intense smells.
Damn.
If you skateboarded down
Whoa!
the Hoover Dam, rapidly accelerate you, reaching
That's so
speeds
scary.
of up to 50 to 90 miles per hour.
That's
and
so
beyond.
fast.
Now, the curvature of the dam structure would make it incredibly difficult to maintain control. And if you somehow managed to stay on, the friction between the wheels and the concrete would probably start to generate some heat. Now, some people might think it could get so hot that it would start to burn the board and your feet. But this probably wouldn't happen.
Nah.
Approaching the bottom, the rapid deceleration would be abrupt.
Oh my gosh, I hate that. That the ending was perfect, came in like a left hook. Yes, sir.
Premature babies were put in glass boxes and displayed at the carnival.
What the
and
frick?
Millions of people would pay just to look at them.
What the
Diamond
heck?
rings were slipped over their arms to show just how tiny they actually were. But these boxes were actually early incubators, pumping warm air inside. They kept the babies healthy as they struggled to survive, and the carnival show actually saved more preemies than the hospitals did.
What? Y'all don't believe that, bro. This is actually crazy, bro. World's craziest animation by Zack D Films, bro. The fact that this is the car save more babies in the hospital is insane, bro. I don't believe it, bro. This is so like, I don't even think uncanny is the word. It's so just out of the ordinary.
He read each answer out loud, and when he reached the correct one, someone in the crowd coughed. He would then choose that answer, and it looked like he guessed right every time. Finally, he won the grand prize. But when the producers rewatched the footage, they noticed it was always the same audience member coughing, and this only happened on the correct answers. You see, the person coughing was actually his wife, and with another man's help, she coughed the right answers to her husband on stage. All three were found guilty, and even though he technically won, the prize money was never paid.
What? Oh, that's unfortunate. I was rooting for the guy competing, bro. I read this story. It's a whole documentary. Damn, really?
If everyone on Earth peed into the Grand
What are we
Canyon,
doing,
you
bro?
might think it would fill up in less than a day. But the Grand Canyon can hold about 1.2 quadrillion gallons, and the average person pees about half a gallon a day. So if all 8 billion people peed at the same time, they'd only add about 4 billion gallons of pee. At that rate, it would take over 800,000 years of constant peeing to fill it up.
That's so nasty, bro. Ew, bro. What the? This is why Zach would never run out of content, bro. Like, bro's answering drunk questions. Yo, Zach D films, bro. Sometimes he just goes too far, but hey, we love him, bro. Because he's educational, funny, and traumatizing.
He woke up to banging coming from downstairs.
Boom, 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 boom.
The clock read 3:34
Oh, that's
a.m.
scary. That's
he
scary.
checked his parents' room. Empty. He went downstairs, but as he reached the living room, he saw men stealing the TV.
No.
Terrified, he ran upstairs and locked his door. Then the banging started. He woke
Again?
up, believing it was a dream.
Whoa, whoa,
but the
whoa,
clock still
whoa, whoa.
read 3:34
Whoa.
a.m.
Wait, that's scary.
Scared, he went downstairs to reassure himself, but the men were in the kitchen yelling at his parents. He ran back upstairs just as the banging started. He woke up again. It was 3:34 a.m. This time, he stayed awake for 36 hours, haunted by the endless loop. He woke up
And there's a loop at the end. That's insane. Wait, hold on. That's kind of crazy, though. So for those wondering, a sleep terror, also known as a night terror, is a sleep disorder when a person, often a child, suddenly wakes up from the deep sleep in a state of intense fear and panic, often screaming or thrashing, but without a clear recollection of the event in the morning. Okay, I see. That's just terrifying.
After colliding with the iceberg,
Oh, no.
a man calmly helped load lifeboats and eventually threw reluctant passengers into safety. But instead of securing
That was
his own
awesome.
spot, the man returned to his cabin
Hey.
for another drink. When the ship finally sank, he stepped off the stern, plunging into the icy waters. The alcohol in his system kept him calm, and the man claimed it's what kept him alive. Finally, a lifeboat rescued him, and despite the freezing temperatures, the man survived with little more than swollen feet.
What? Yo, being drunk can actually be superpowers. Just use it at the right times, like in these situations, bro. Man saves reluctant passengers and then reluctantly gets saved himself. Poetic. This man survived because he deserved to survive. Hey.
When the stranger got an answer wrong, he would press a button that would shock them. And this was all part of an experiment. Each time this happened, the shock got stronger until the stranger screamed and begged to stop. But a man in a lab coat tells you to keep going, so you do. Even when you think the stranger has collapsed on the floor in pain, you keep listening to the man in the lab
What?
coat. Now, what you don't know is that the shocks actually aren't real, and the stranger is an actor. You are actually the real test subject.
Whoa.
You see, despite the cries, you keep going, even to the point of possibly killing the person, just because an authority figure in a lab coat told you to. And this experiment was actually done in the 60s, proving how far ordinary people will go when we think we're just following orders.
Oh, that's scary, bro. That's actually sad. And I bet like this experiment showcased that like many people went with the guy in the lab coat. Well, that's actually tragic. The author of these controversial statements was Stanley Milgram, a Yale University psychologist. Ooh.
The rooster is placed under a bowl with garlic rubbed on the back.
What the
and
heck?
suspects are told it'll crow if the thief touches it. Each person enters the room
What?
and touches the bowl. As they leave, the trickster smells each person's hand. If it reeks of garlic, they touched the bowl. So they're probably innocent. But if one hand smells like nothing, that person never touched the bowl because they were afraid the rooster would give them away, meaning the thief is exposed without the rooster doing anything.
Hey, you know what? If it worked, it worked. You know what I'm saying? If it worked, it worked. I mean, I don't know what to say. Being out of mercy out of a rooster is an experience for a lifetime, for real.
He gulped down a live
Hey,
goldfish
yo!
in front of a crowd as a dare. A few weeks later, someone else said they could swallow 24 of them.
Whoa,
Eventually,
bro. What
record
the
hit
heck?
101
Yo, this is so
goldfish in
creepy.
one go. The stunt made headlines, and students across the country were swallowing
Hey,
live
hey,
goldfish
hey.
to outdo each other.
That's crazy.
But animal rights groups protested, while doctors warned of tapeworms. And a state senator even proposed a law to protect
What
the
the
fish.
heck?
By the end of spring, the craze faded, but for a brief moment, swallowing goldfish was the ultimate college dare.
Yo, that looks creepy, bro. Look at this. Oh, hell nah. Them eyeballs.
Her hand got stuck inside the Easy Bake oven while it
Whoa.
was still turned on. on, and the heating element inside burned her finger. She finally managed to pull it out, but the burn was so severe that doctors had to amputate her finger. Now this happened because the toy was redesigned, replacing the light bulb inside with an actual heating element. But after hundreds of children were injured, the oven was recalled.
Did they get sued? Please tell me they get sued. Poor innocent children. They're just trying to bake some cookies and now they get their finger amputated, bro. What crazy. The fact that it took 100 children to be injured just for it to be recorded is insane, bro. Oh my gosh.
He was shot in the balls, and this happened because those balls burst, releasing over 300,000 gallons of sperm.
Nice one.
The doctor pulled a pen cap out of the man's ear. He had been using a pen to itch the inside of his ear
Ew,
and
bro.
lost the cap inside. Another time, a person kept hearing strange clicking sounds every time they moved their jaw. When the doctor checked their ear, they found a small white tooth hidden inside. In a more shocking case, a patient complained that their ear felt like it was burning. The doctor pulled out a battery that was leaking acid inside.
Yo. How do these items get in there in the first place? Huh? Yeah, Zack Films is traumatizing, but it's only gonna get worse throughout the video.
If you encounter a grizzly bear and try to run,
Yeah.
grab a gun and shoot at your balls and you could die.
Wow, bro, yeah, and this is why Zack Films is traumatizing, because like I didn't know bears can grab a gun and shoot my balls. Yo, grab a gun part was so hilarious, yeah.
If you swallow a metal bowl, call 911 immediately and touch a cactus
What?
40 times. And this happened because the metal bowl could go into a coma and explode in a huge fireball.
What? Bro, I don't even know what I'm watching, bro.
If you touch a spider, you would completely lose your family 40 times. And this
Family
happened
40
because
and
the
this happened.
ball suddenly exploded in a fridge during a nuclear explosion. This happened because the bones and cartilage might start a dookie at 300 miles per hour.
What? Yo, what? Hey, Zack Film said it, not me. And by the way, he doesn't tell lies. All of his stories are non-fiction.
You could swallow a whole watermelon if your jaw worked like a snake's. But as it traveled down your throat, it would crush your windpipe, cutting off your air before it even reached your chest. Your esophagus isn't stretchy like a snake's, and the watermelon would slam into your lungs and heart. Even if it somehow reached your stomach, it wouldn't fit, meaning you wouldn't have the acid or enzymes to break it down. At that point, your only option would be to throw it back up, but forcing it out would cause just as much damage.
And Zack Films is traumatizing for sure. Guaranteed. Yo, I am Imagine pull up to an eating competition and doing this. Yeah, bro. Now someone respect the guy who did it. I couldn't breathe watching this. Bro, like this right here, like, bro, what is this? Like, you don't see this, bro.
The grenade was launched at the soldier,
grenade launcher?
hitting him right in the chest. But instead of exploding, it somehow lodged inside his body and stayed intact. Now, somehow he survived and was rushed to the hospital.
Oh my gosh, if that didn't explode, bro, all the workers are in danger right now. Bro, this is crazy stakes, bro.
If doctors treated the wound like normal, the electricity used to seal the blood vessels could detonate the bomb. Instead, he used only hand tools to pull out the live grenade, and somehow everyone survived.
That's so scary. Oh my gosh. I would be shaking if I was a doctor. These doctors treated this man despite the dangerous situation they're in. They're the real heroes. That's what I'm saying, bro. The doctors risk his life too to save another life with respect. That's what I'm saying, bro.
If you need to get out of a moving truck, you might think you should jump forward. But when you do so, you actually move even faster than the truck is driving.
What?
Meaning you hit the ground at even higher speeds, which can easily break your legs. Instead, face the other way and jump backward. This cancels out some of the truck's speed, slowing your fall. So when you land, you're less likely to get seriously injured.
Bro, honestly, I always thought of this situation if I ever got kidnapped. I swear. You know, it's like late night drives and you're just like in the back seat, bro. This is what I think, bro. Hey, but now we know. If you ever get kidnapped, you jump backwards and you will have a better landing. If you jump backwards from a moonshot, don't try to roll forward. You only roll in the direction the truck is moving, so brace yourself for that. Hey, we learn more. The more the merrier.
It would take giant tugboats a month of constant pulling to put the continents back together. Then you would need 6.5 quadrillion
What is
tons
this?
of super glue
What
and
is this?
enormous meteors slamming into it at incredible speed just to squeeze it out. The force would push the glue miles into the cracks, covering the edge of every continent for over 60,000 miles. And the water would make the glue set quickly, leaving you with a massive
Pangea. Yeah, man, this will definitely happen. Like, bro, not only is this Zack films traumatizing, he makes like the most craziest hypotheticals. Welcome back, Pangea. Yes, sir. Zack really knows how to bring the world together. Worth it. Let's do it. Thank you for the information. People will definitely try, knowing how easy it is to do. That's what I'm saying. Like, the most absurd ideas.
A stone was slowly placed across his lap, sitting on his knees. Now he was kneeling on a sharp wood slab with grooves that dug into his shins and ankles, and the stone forced his legs deeper into those grooves, grinding into the bone. Then another slab was added, and another. Each one crushed his thighs further, cutting off circulation and locking him in place. And they'd leave you there for hours until you confessed.
Wow, that's so messed up. Everyone will confess in the streets even if they didn't do it. Yeah, bro.
If 1,500 bees swarmed in and stung you,
Oh!
and you weighed 150 pounds, the poison would quickly break down
Wait, they
your
poison
muscles, releasing toxins into your blood.
Oh my
You
gosh,
see,
I
one
thought-
pound of body weight can only handle about 10 stings. Any more, and your kidneys would fail as they struggled to process it. At the same time, your body would release adrenaline, making your heart beat way too fast, and eventually you would have a heart attack and die.
Oh, that's 1,500 bees. Okay, I thought it was like 150. But still, like, I thought they just stung you, not poison you. Respect to the guy for flexing after going through all that. So if 1499 bees sting me while I'm 150 pounds, then I'm safe. Thank you for the information.
They injected the lottery balls with a tiny amount of paint, coating
Bro,
the inside and
what
making
are
them
we
heavier
cheating,
than
bro?
the others. And they did this to all of the numbers except
Wow.
4 and 6. Next, they bought 15,000 tickets for all of the number combinations that used 4s and 6s. When the winning number was drawn, the paint-filled balls sank to the bottom, and 666 came out. Now,
Wow.
they did have the winning ticket, and they would have won almost $2 million, but they had told family and friends about the scam, and when word spread, it was exposed, meaning they got nothing except prison time.
This is why you don't tell anyone you won the lottery. Stuff like this will happen, bro. This is traumatizing, bro. Zack films will traumatize you, but he's a good lesson learner, bro.
He crushed up a butterfly,
No! Ashley! Why did Ashley have to
it
die?
up into a needle, and injected himself with it. And he did this because of an online challenge. But butterflies actually contain poisonous chemicals. He began throwing up almost immediately as the toxins spread throughout his body. And inside his veins, the poison triggered a reaction, causing them to swell. As it traveled, his organs began shutting down one by one. Doctors rushed to help, but it was already too late. He was dead, all because of a dumb trend.
That's traumatizing, bro. Viral only online challenge, which nobody heard of yet. I'd never heard of this before. I'm gonna be honest with you. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes at a moment.
The body of a high school boy was discovered inside a rolled-up gym mat.
Oh
Now,
my
authorities
gosh.
initially ruled his death as accidental, suggesting that he fell into the mat head first while reaching for a shoe and suffocated due to the position. But his family didn't believe this story and requested a second autopsy. This revealed blunt force trauma to the boy's neck, leading to suspicions of foul play. But despite numerous investigations, the case remains unresolved and many questions linger.
That's so scary, bro. That's tragic. Gym class boys never get caught. Most boys overall never get caught. Yeah, bro. They should have investigated more. He deserves justice.
A clockwork motor slowly spins dozens of metal discs inside the doll's base. And as the grooves in each disc turn, they shift 3 metal rods back and forth. These connect to the doll's hand, with one controlling side-to-side movement and another controlling front to back. The last one raises and lowers the pen to form lines lines on paper, producing 3 different poems
Whoa.
and 4 drawings in perfect detail.
What? Come on, boy, that's so cool. Whoa. For those who don't know, Swiss maker Pierre Georget in 1774, he invented this masterpiece in the 19th century. Well, that's even crazier.
If your eyes point in different directions, a doctor will make a tiny cut in the thin
Oh.
covering of your eye. Then they'll lift the exposed muscles from the eyeball, moving them slightly to help your eyes line up straight. Once they're in the right spot, the doctor stitches the muscles firmly into place so they stay aligned. Finally, they close the tiny opening on your eye with small stitches that
Whoa, really? I thought that was just like some invisible
dissolve
thing.
over time. And once it heals, your eyes stay aligned and point in the same direction.
Whoa, that's scary, bro. That's just so cool. The fact that someone was able to do this successfully is insane, yeah.
They took the enemy's bullet, carefully removed the gunpowder, and filled them with explosives
Bro,
that
what?
looked the same. When they fired, the pressure inside the barrel increased rapidly until it was more than the gun could handle.
Oh my
The rifle
gosh.
would burst apart, killing the shooter.
That's
and
insane.
These fake bullets were planted one at a time into boxes of real ammo, meaning it looked like a random malfunction, not a sabotage.
That's scary. Wow.
If you jumped off a building into a giant paper plane, could you actually fly in it?
What
To
the-
make it big enough,
Again with the
you would need a piece
hypotheticals.
of paper half the size of a football field. Each fold would be reinforced with metal strips, and you would need to soak it in resin to keep the paper stiff. To fly it, you would need a giant wire.
Oh my
pulling
gosh.
it into the air almost 100 miles
100
an hour.
miles?
If you were sitting on top, your weight would soon tip it forward. But for a few seconds, you would actually be able to fly.
For a few seconds. Nice.
They jack up the parked car,
Okay.
get underneath, and saw through the exhaust pipe. And in less than a minute, they get away with your catalytic converter.
What the
You see,
heck?
This part is made of precious metals, which filter the smoke coming out of your exhaust. But these metals are actually worth more than gold. So thieves
What?
sell them to scrap yards for hundreds of dollars. Now, to stop this, some car owners paint them bright orange and engrave their license numbers onto the metal. This is supposed to stop scrap yards from buying them since it marks them as stolen. But many scrap yards still buy them anyway.
Okay, yeah. That's so devious, bro.
As she walked to the plane, she tossed coins at the end.
So what are we doing? Where's the thought process, bro? Alright, bro. Let's see
And
this.
she did this so it would bring good luck.
We listen and we don't judge. We listen, we don't judge.
For the flight, but even one small coin can cause enough damage to stop the engine mid-flight. So the plane was completely shut down. Then staff spent 4 hours inspecting and removing the coins from the engine, and the woman was taken away
Good.
for questioning.
Yeah, that's good luck for you, bro. Good luck for the rest of the people removing you out of the plane, bro.
You were crushed with a hydraulic. Would it be strong enough to press you into a tiny cube? Well, your body is mostly made of water, and water can't be compressed. So you would have to remove all of the fluids by drying out completely. Then you'd have to grind up your bones and organs into fine powder. Finally, you could crush it all together, turning an entire human into a dense little cube about the size of a football.
Yeah, Zack Films is traumatizing at its finest, bro. This guy, I swear, like, look at
Crushed with
this.
a hydraulic press. Would it be strong enough?
If you think this was crazy, bro, it's only gonna get traumatizing throughout the video.
The rooster had a knife tied to his
What
leg
the heck?
and ran towards the man, slicing into his calf. You see, they were running away after police had caught them at a rooster fight.
Rooster
These
fight?
birds are trained to fight and slice
Oh my-
opponents during illegal matches. And in the chaos, one rooster sliced open the man's leg. It hit an artery and blood began pouring out. He was rushed to the hospital where he later died, but the rooster survived.
Hey, W Rooster though, W Rooster, but that's unfortunate, man. He chose the wrong day to mess with the Colin Sanders, yes sir. No way the Rooster used the Uno reverse card, yeah, that's crazy. Dying from a rooster? That's just wild, bro. But the Rooster survived as he should, yes sir.
If you crash into an
Whoa.
electric pole and the line falls,
Oh,
you'll
yeah?
get electrocuted if you just step out of the car. That's because touching the car and the ground at the same time
What?
creates a circuit. This means
How?
the electricity will travel through the car and into your body as it tries to reach the ground. Instead, jump out with both feet together without touching the vehicle. Now, the ground around the car could still be very active. And if you take regular steps, your legs could actually create another circuit. So keep your feet together, shuffle away slowly, and don't stop until you're far from the wires.
Wow, yeah, I'll definitely keep this in mind, Zack Films. If a power line ever falls on me while I crash into it, I'll shuffle my feet like that. How do we survive? I watched Zack Films video. Real talk, this is helpful. Thank you, Zack. Yo, honestly, bro, Zack Films is giving me life-changing, life-saving tips.
How big of a bomb would you need to completely destroy the Earth?
Yeah, great fact to know, Zack Films. Great fact.
Gravity is holding the Earth tightly together with more energy than the sun puts out in an entire week. And a nuclear bomb wouldn't even come close to ripping that apart. You would have to build a bomb 2 miles wide and fill half of it with positive particles and the other half with negative particles.
2 miles?
Then the impact would collide them against each other, and this would combine their energy, making an explosion big enough to blow the planet into dust.
See, right here, I swear in the future, hey, y'all gonna come back to this and be like, I knew it. I swear someone in the future, some villainous guy is gonna literally recreate this video, bro, probably in the North Pole or something like that, create a 2-mile nuclear bomb filled with positive and negatives, and hey man, Zack Films is creating villains. Very relevant for our day-to-day tasks, yes sir. Zack helping Thanos with this one. Okay, I'll get started, thanks. Hey man, I'm telling you, this guy Alex, bro, he might start it, bro.
If an ant climbs up the side of a Klein bottle, it'll walk straight into the opening at the top. Inside, the surface twists and loops until the ant comes back out without ever crossing an edge. Now it's upside down on what looks like the inside. It keeps walking, following the curve until it's right back where it started. That's because this bottle has no real inside or outside.
What?
It's made of just one continuous surface that twists through itself. So the ant moving along it never switches sides because there are no sides to begin with.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, what the heck? Ugh, that ant's stuck in a loop, bro. Man's in the genjutsu. My brain isn't brain. Yeah, I was like, huh? Ranking the craziest Zack Films videos. Let's go.
They yanked out the feathers around the chicken's butt and pressed the butthole directly onto the infected lump, strapping it on. You see, they thought it would suck out poison from the patient, and they would even seal its beak to encourage it to breathe through its butt. Once the chicken suffocated, they immediately replaced it with another one. And this method was used for centuries before people realized it didn't actually work.
Yeah, centuries, bro. Yeah, where's the so cooked?
The owner would beat
the
sticks, and he did this to make it aggressive towards humans, so it would guard him. And this went on for a long time.
Yo, this is so
mean. One day, the goat had enough.
Let's go, goat!
Charged forward, ramming its sharp horns straight into the man's stomach.
Let's go. Oh!
As the man stumbled away, the goat chased him.
Let's go, goat!
Porch, then kicked him off.
Yes, sir.
He hit the ground hard, dying within minutes. When his body was found, the goat was captured, but instead of being put down, it was taken in by
rescuers. W goat, bro.
She locked her son inside the chicken coop when he was just a baby.
Let's process that. Locked my son in the chicken coop when he was a baby. Okay, yeah, totally normal thing to do. Definitely.
Over the next 7 years,
7
he was
years.
Raised by the birds. He learned to move like them.
What
and
the
make
heck?
Strange bird-like sounds instead of talking. Because he only ate chicken food, he didn't get enough vitamins, causing his bones to warp and bend. Even after he was rescued, he moved around like a chicken. And though he eventually learned English, his body never fully recovered.
That's so unfortunate, bro. Man.
He was kidnapped and held hostage for 7 days. And her kidnappers planned to force her into marriage.
What?
But as the girl cried, a pack of lions suddenly appeared. The kidnappers were terrified, running from the scene and leaving their victim behind. But instead of harming her, the lions spent the next 12 hours guarding the girl.
What? Okay.
When police and her family finally got there, they found the girl shaken but alive, and the lions calmly walked back into the forest.
Hey, yo, W lions though. W lions. That's what I'm talking about.
Poop through a wooden plank with a hole cut in it, right above the crashing waves. And whatever dropped.
Hey,
went straight
yo,
through the hole and
ew,
into
bro.
the
I'm sorry. This is so traumatizing. Zack films, bro. This is literally giving me nightmares, bro. That's just, I don't want to see some dookie butt. I mean, for y'all, it's a lot more covered, but bro, I'm seeing the edges of bare butt cheeks and poop, bro.
The sea.
That's just, I don't want to see that.
The very front of the ship, so the wind would carry the smell away from the
Ooh, there's really stinky.
crew. But there weren't walls or railings, meaning in rough seas, a single wave could easily knock you overboard.
Yeah, Zack films is just traumatizing, bro. I don't know what to say.
Soldier was shot in the head in 1562.
1562?
He fell from a wall and into a ditch where workers buried him, thinking he was dead. After learning that he had been buried in a ditch, his servant came to collect his body for a proper burial. But as he was digging him up, he discovered that the man was still alive. The soldier lived to tell the incredible story of his survival.
That's literally one of my biggest fears, bro. Getting buried alive is probably like the most scariest thing to happen.
If a spider grew to 1,500 pounds and had 15-foot legs, it could theoretically hunt a human. But it wouldn't be quite that simple. You see, they breathe through thin layers of stacked tissue, but these lungs only work for small bodies. A giant spider wouldn't absorb enough oxygen and it would quickly suffocate. Even if it did somehow survive, its legs couldn't support its massive weight. So without major evolutionary changes, we're safe from giant spiders.
Aw, nice. Average Australian experience. The antlers don't need to raise, they need to break. Yeah, bro.
The needle is inserted into the dead spider, injecting air into its legs, and this forces them to open and close on command. Scientists can control this movement, turning the spider into a natural gripping tool. Since the spider's legs are built with microscopic hairs, they can be used to pick up tiny objects, and they could even be used in surgery, handling tools too small for human hands.
I'm so uneasy watching these videos, bro. I'm telling you, like, these Zack films just, they're so weird, bro. Like, damn. Having a spider for surgery in my body sounds like a nightmare more than anything. Yeah, bro. I would not want to have that.
If you stomp on a spider, you might end up releasing a swarm of hundreds of babies all at once. And this is because some spiders don't actually lay their eggs in a web. Instead, they have to carry around their egg sacs, which are connected to their spinnerets. Once the sac hatches, the baby spiders will crawl up the mother's back. And if you happen to step on the spider, the babies will swarm the area.
I hate spiders, bro. I'm sorry.
The intruder grabbed the handle and started to open her bedroom door. So she grabbed a gun and fired straight through it. The bullet hit the man in the chest, but when she opened the door, she saw her own husband holding a breakfast tray. You see, he...
Bro, this is so much trauma. I'm just like, I can't even react or commentate because I'm just like, that's so tragic, bro.
He had unexpectedly come home from work to surprise her, but she thought he was a burglar. He was taken to the hospital, but the bullet somehow missed all major organs.
Hey, W, but L mom, for real.
He fully recovered.
The fact that they stayed married is true, Lord. I don't know about that. I'm glad that he survived and was able to forgive her, yeah.
The sword was fixed to the top of the gun.
What the heck is this?
To either slash down your enemy or shoot them.
What is the contraption?
If you shot at the wrong angle, the recoil would send the blade back toward your face. And for the sword to be stable, it had to be screwed to the gun's handle, which would make it impossible to load the magazine. Now, only one of these has ever been found, and the trigger, magazine, and bolt were all missing, meaning this was probably just a gimmick and never actually used.
I'm about to say, bro, like, what the heck? That's an interesting gimmick, for sure. If I go down, I'm taking with me a weapon.
Split the deck perfectly in half and press the two piles against each other, bracing with your finger. Next, push them gently until the cards spread out. This will alternate them, one card from the left pile and the next from the right. This will leave them perfectly mixed. Now, if you start with all 4 aces on the top, then shuffle the deck twice so that the cards alternate, the aces will be stacked 4 cards apart. Meaning, if you deal a 4-handed game of poker, you'll end up with all the aces in your hand.
Hey, yo, thanks, Zack. Hey, you know what? Hey, we watching stuff that's not traumatizing. That's what's up, man. Something like this is so hard. Yeah.
The bullet would be placed into your mouth as you bit down hard. And this would happen during surgery on a battlefield. You see, there was no anesthetic, meaning you would feel every slice in time. The bullet bullets were made of a soft metal that wouldn't damage your teeth. And while it didn't stop the pain, it gave soldiers something to clench and focus on. And this is what it meant to bite the bullet.
Oh my gosh, bro. The fact that the bite the bullet has true meaning behind it is really cool. But still, bro, I'm so glad that we are here today, bro. Because anesthesia, I'm glad for that thing. But like, bro, imagine getting surgery back in the day. Bro, you felt the pain of everything, bro. That's crazy.
He's mad because he died in the game. So he
man.
researched the other gamer's identity. And after 7 months of stalking, he realized he lived just a few miles away. When he rang
that's
the
so
doorbell,
creepy.
The man answered, and suddenly he pulled out a kitchen knife and stabbed the man in the chest. It missed his heart by less than an inch, and somehow the man survived. But the attacker spent 2 years in prison, all over a video game.
Just 2 years? No. I'm actually mad. I'm actually pissed up. Bro got mad over a video game, stalked the guy who killed him for 7 months, right? He finds him, gets a knife, and almost literally kills him. That man's just so lucky to survive with an inch of barely dying, bro. Nah, that guy deserves like 10, bro. Bro, rage quit lasted 7 months. I'm saying only 2 years in prison for attempted murder is genuinely crazy, bro. Honestly, in today's society, bro, it's gotten so bad.
He cut through his frostbitten
Whoa!
foot using only scissors, and
Only
the man
scissors?
felt everything. When it was done, she kept the foot in a freezer, hoping to take it home and cover it in resin. You see, her family owned a taxidermy shop, and she planned to display the foot in the window with a sign that read, "Wear your boots, kids." When the man died, she tried to steal the foot, but the other nurses stopped her, and his foot was finally sent off with the body.
Yo, what in the psychotic psychopath lady did we just witness, bro? Why do you want to steal foot, bro? I don't care if you own that taxidermy shop. No! Making someone feel pain for the art is next level insanity. That's what I'm saying, bro. Next level insanity.
As the Titanic was
No!
sinking, rumors spread that the captain was drinking during the disaster.
What?
And others said he faked his death, escaped, and fled to America. But the worst reports were from people who heard gunshots on the bridge.
Gunshots?
Claiming the captain shot himself as the ship went down. Because of this, he was remembered as a coward. But years later, one researcher claimed the gunshots were fired as warning shots to calm the panicked crowd. One survivor saw him
I had to stop. Calm the panic crowd. Alright, yeah. With gunshots? Alright.
saving a baby and refusing a lifeboat so others would be saved, meaning the captain may have actually been a hero after all.
Oh my gosh, that's ore though. That's so much ore, but he had like sacrifice ore, meaning that like he did all these good deeds, but unfortunately he probably passed away. I hate how society just makes good people seem bad. Respect to the captain, that's what I'm saying, bro. True captain goes down with the ship, what a legend.
One identical twin boards a spaceship while the other stays on Earth. The spaceship then begins flying through space at the speed of light. Now, even though they would both feel time passing normally, the twin back on Earth would actually experience time faster. That's because time bends and stretches depending on how fast you're going.
Whoa, really?
The closer you get to the speed of light, the more time slows down, meaning when the one twin returned, they would be younger than the other twin.
Whoa, wait, that's actually crazy. That's actually true? Because I mean, whenever Zack the film says about anything, literally, it's all non-fiction. It's all true. None of it is fake.
They crammed the 500-pound body inside the chamber and turned up the flames to cremate it. But as it began to burn, the massive amount of fat started to liquefy, and then it ignited. Chunks of burning fat launched up through the vent system, landing on the roof. This set the rubber material on fire, forcing workers inside to evacuate. And by the time firefighters arrived, the roof was engulfed in flames.
Oh my gosh. This is crazy, yo. Bro fought until the very end, lest we forget. Gorlock the Destroyer.
He lines up the probe carefully and moves forward to
What?
lock it into the hose trailing from the plane. Then the probe's nozzle pushes
No
against
way.
the valve
That's
on the
crazy
hose.
maneuvers.
This creates a sealed connection between the planes. Then thousands of gallons quickly pump through the hose and into the fighter jet. And this fills the jet's tanks as the planes continue to fly in perfect formation.
What? That's cool. That's actually sick. The fighter pilot is just Rick.
The bullet was shot
Oh
and
my gosh.
lodged into his chest. Now, Doctors said it was too close to his heart and lungs to remove, so they just left it in.
Are we serious?
He grew up and raised a family with a bullet still inside of him, and it sat in his chest for decades without pain. But at age 85, while recovering from a car crash, he coughed, and the bullet came out after all these years.
That's so crazy. I mean, good thing he survived, bro. But like, dude, bro survived a gunshot as a kid, a car crash at 85. True legend. Yeah, a car crash at 85 is insane. Bro spat the bullet like Hulk. Now this is insane though.
If you swab the microbes off of your skin and drop them into a jar of flour and water,
Yo, that's so evil. Imagine you're in like a cooking class and you do that, bro.
they'll start to eat the sugars inside the flour. And as they break it down, they release carbon dioxide gas. Over a few days, the mixture will bubble up as more and more gas is released. Next, add more flour and water, kneading it together until you have dough. And when you bake it, you'll have your very own sourdough using your body's natural yeast.
Ooh, nasty. That's just nasty, bro. These are definitely the world's most disturbing animations, bro. Zack films will always disturb you.
If a long strip was taped to a dollar bill
Okay.
and fed into a soda machine before making a selection, could the money be yanked back out in time to get a free soda? Well, modern vending machines scan the bill by shining lights onto the paper, and if it reflects off the tape in unexpected ways, the machine will reject the bill. But older machines would only check for the magnetic ink inside the bill, meaning it could be accepted and then yanked out, leaving credit on the machine while you save the $1 bill. But remember, this is stealing, and you would be a scumbag if you tried it.
Heaviest comeback. Yeah, guys. Bro, Zack films is casually educating us how to do these hacks for free on the internet.
They surgically
Ew.
removed 90% of her tongue because it had cancer.
Oh,
Next,
wait,
they
what?
cut a muscle out of her arm. They connected the veins inside her mouth and stitched the nerves together. The muscle was stitched onto what was left of her tongue, matching its shape. And even though doctors said she would never speak again, she said hello to her daughter just days later.
That's the most disturbing thing I ever seen. It's so like, wow, I'm glad she's safe, bro. Never underestimate the power of a mother who loves her children infinitely.
The terrifying creature devoured livestock and even preyed on women and
Are you
children.
serious?
The villagers
Hey, here we go. Zack films awarded the most disturbing
hunted it
animations.
down and killed it. And for some reason, they believed it was the mayor who had come back from the dead as a werewolf. They dressed the dead creature in a flesh-colored suit
Are we
that
serious?
looked like human skin and added a brown wig and a long white beard.
Yeah, that's so weird.
To finish it off, they cut off its snout, replacing it with a mask that looked like the mayor. And just to be sure the creature was dead, they hanged it in a public trial.
This is some witcheroo, voodoo, witchcraft type stuff, bro. The villagers must have a serious beef with that man. That's what I'm saying, bro.
He began throwing up immediately after
Ew.
drinking his morning coffee. Some began to feel sick, and some even had severe diarrhea. And when they checked the security footage, they found something shocking. An angry employee had been pouring cleaning spray into
Are
the
we
fresh
serious?
pot. She had been upset at her coworkers and poisoned the coffee for revenge.
That's literally
After being
illegal.
caught, she was sentenced to 3 years in prison.
Bro, 3 years? What? Yeah, she must have been a baddie for the judge, bro. Like, 3 years, literally trying to kill multiple people, bro. 3 years is surprisingly for what could have been an attempt to murder on multiple employees. That's almost exact words.
When they opened the ancient tomb,
Whoa.
they found treasures hidden for thousands of years. But later, a man who entered the tomb ended up dying from an infected bug bite. And another man who was there was found dead after being smothered in his bed. Then someone else connected to the discovery was shot by his wife, killing him instantly. In total, 8 people present when the tomb was opened died in strange ways in the years that followed. Panic spread among the explorers as they wondered who was next.
That's so scary.
He dreamt he was walking through the White House late at night and stumbled upon a room draped
Oh
in
my
black.
gosh.
Inside, a casket rested in the center, guarded by soldiers. Confused, Lincoln asked one of them who had died, and the guard said it was the president who had been assassinated. Lincoln woke up and dismissed it as just a dream, but 3 days later, he was shot in the back of the the head at a theater.
Honestly, so tragic. Bro saw into the future, literally.
A group of friends suddenly spotted a creature with
Oh,
large
hell
eyes and
no!
red eyes standing in the road. Terrified, they drove away, but the creature took flight and followed them. It
What?
swooped over them repeatedly, emitting a horrifying screech. They finally lost it, but were left shaken, convinced they had
Go
encountered something
home!
supernatural. This terrifying case became one of the most famous Mothman sightings. These unverified sightings began to spread fear throughout West Virginia. Now, most believe it was simply a local legend fueled by fear and hysteria. But with no concrete evidence, the Mothman remains an eerie mystery.
Oh, hell no! I'm glad I live on the other side of the world. That group of friends was living in a horror movie IRL.
The fish nibbled on her massive balls at
Hey,
300
yo.
miles per hour as
Hey,
she
yo.
swallowed a metal bowl that set over poop. As a fish sucks in your balls,
Hey, yo! Bro, once Zack sees this, you're cooked. Yeah.
when early humans pooped,
Ew! Alright, bro. I'm glad. You guys are glad that that's censored. I just
didn't
saw.
have to wipe. And this was because they squatted instead of sitting, which helped everything come out quickly. And they also ate a lot of raw plants, which were full of fiber. This made their poop firm and dry, so nothing really stuck. But as we started eating softer, processed foods, our poop became stickier. Now, instead of coming out clean,
Ew,
it smears
bro.
as it's pushed out, which means wiping is necessary.
Why is he looking like that, bro? Can I use a raise for the realism?
They would be placed into a sack alongside a monkey, a snake, and a chicken.
Are you serious?
This punishment was saved for people who killed their parents. Once
Okay, why do we do that?
sealed, the sack was thrown into a river. As the person inside struggled to breathe, the panicked animals would attack, creating a chaotic and brutal scenario. The goal was to ensure that the punishment was as horrifying as the crime. Crept towards the house, keeping their footsteps light so they
okay.
wouldn't be heard.
Why people still poop
all
in
to
Japan?
steal a bucket of poop.
Ew!
Was really valuable. Farmers needed it as fertilizer, helping crops grow faster. And people even traded their poop in exchange for food.
Okay, that's
Eventually,
wild.
Human poop became so valuable that thieves risked getting caught just to steal it.
That is so cursed. By the way, bro, Zack D Films never lies in his videos unless he specifically says fiction. So this, people really stole poop in Japan and maybe other parts of the world. This is why Zack would never run out of ideas.
If your eyelids were ripped off,
Oh my
the tears that
gosh.
keep your eyes wet would start to dry up. An hour later, the dryness could cause tiny scratches on the surface of your eyes. Over the next few days, without lids to clean away debris, your eyeballs might have open sores caused by dirt and dust. Sleeping would be difficult since you can't close your eyes, making them even drier and strained. Eventually, infections would develop, leading to serious eye damage and permanent blindness.
That's cursed Zack D Films for ya. Sleeping would be difficult since you can't close your eyes. No way for real. No, a bomb? What is that? The trunk had no bottom? What is this? Oh no, we have a horror movie, y'all. So we should bring a random box in the house. Okay. Yeah. Don't tell me he falls in. Oh, heck no. Okay, we're just disposing money. Yeah, we just... Hey, hold up! Hold up! Wait, now you just sold. Oh, wait. Wait. Wait, this is kind of creepy, bro. I feel like I'm about to get jump scared. No, don't tell me you're gonna go in. No, 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 no. No, you're so greedy. You're greedy, bro. This is what they call the greed in the Bible, bro. Wait, he's outside. Wait. No, he's trapped. You're stupid. Wait. Oh wait, we heard that earlier. Wait, so then... Don't tell me. He sees the box. That's crazy. This is Interstellar, bro. When I didn't hear Zack's voice for the first 2 seconds, I knew I had to put my TV aside. For a second, I had to check if my headphones were working. A video of Zack's voiceover is creepy as... Yeah, bro, this was actually creepy, bro. Bro, this is why Zack D Films has the world's most cursed animations, bro. It's only gonna get more cursed later in the video.
If you get hit in the eye,
Oh, let me guess. You would go blind.
you can no longer hear out of that eye.
Really? Let me try. Damn it. Now I lost my sense of smell.
Nice.
The kidney was placed in a cooler and flown to another state. There, a man picked it up to drive the rest of the way to the hospital. But his car skidded in a snowbank, and he was stuck in the middle of a raging blizzard. Now, the kidney only had hours left to be transplanted, so he called 911, and an officer began to dig him out with a shovel. Finally, a tow truck pulled him from the bank, and with his car finally free, he
Hey!
just in time, saving the patient's life.
W kidney deliverer. It's incredible that the man could think clearly under the pressure, and to do all of this for one patient, faith in humanity is restored.
They slide a thin needle straight through the cork of a $1,000 whiskey
Whoa.
bottle, and as the liquid flows out of the spout, it's replaced with gas. Now, this device is actually designed to sample wine without opening the bottle, but thieves use it to empty high-ticket whiskey bottles. Next, they refill them with cheaper alcohol using a syringe. Once the needle is removed, the natural pressure in the cork reseals the hole, and the bottle looks brand new.
What?
Meaning the thieves can resell it and keep the real whiskey for themselves.
Are you serious? Bro, I swear Zack D Films, he's educational, but he actually teaches us ways we can do bad stuff. Respect to Zack for exposing them, for real. Yeah, bro, exposing and helping criminals at the same time. That's what I'm saying, bro. He exposes criminals, but he tells us like the most craziest methods to make money. Doing that off of Jim's whiskey is crazy.